Where from? You guys, where's everybody from?
Woodbridge.
I'm in Innisfil.
Oh, that's right. You're part of it. And you're?
Brampton.
Oh, you're in Brampton.
In Milton.
In Milton, okay. And you're?
Woodbridge.
Oh, in Woodbridge, eh? All right, well, welcome to the show, guys. And girls.
Thank you.
for having us.
Thanks so much. I'm excited about this. I think I was telling Andrew, like, I've been itching to do a tile roundtable since we started doing roundtables.
Yeah.
Because I think that this conversation is going to be very, very interesting because we got 4 pros here. No juniors here. We have any? No, nobody's a junior, right? Everyone's a professional here, and we're gonna have a very nice conversation about the industry and what's going on, and we'll just see where the conversation goes from there. So I want to just say thank you very much for coming to the show.
Thank you.
Thanks for having
Appreciate
us.
being here.
So this show is brought to you by Klassen Bronze Limited, and we're featuring Peygran, and you can find it at ProSol, Amazon, and TileLevelingSystems.shop. I'm a huge fan of Peygran too. That's the thing about it. I can't remember the last time I tiled. I'm trying to think of the last time I tiled.
I don't remember.
It's been a few
That
years.
was, I think, that bathroom where you had the double drain.
Probably.
That linear
Yeah,
drain.
yeah,
the
probably.
double drain, I
No,
remember
quadruple drain.
There was 4 of them.
4 drains.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right.
wow.
You're
And
right.
everyone gave me lip for doing it
Yeah.
because it's like, where do you run it off to?
Got the slope in
Yeah.
all directions.
I just started thinking the Egyptians and pancake a pyramid. That's how I treated it, and it worked. So it's not about me; it's about you guys. So, well, all right. So I want to first start off with. I'd love for each of you guys to introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself. How long you've been in the business, how long you've been, why you chose tiling. Just some insight, and then we can get into there, and then we'll go from there. So you want to start with you, JP?
I'm JP from New Look Tile and Stone, 3rd generation tile setter. I had my grandfather, my uncle, and my father that did the trade for, I think it's almost 120 years in the family.
Nobody wanted to be an electrician or a plumber.
No, that's too much thinking. No, I got into it when I was young. I first started helping my grandfather actually when I was 13, 14, mixing dry pack.
Here,
Yeah.
really?
Like on weekends, if you...
Yeah. Just to get.
It
a
didn't
sense
work
of
out
it.
well. He's too old school.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I started with that, and then what else was I gonna do? I was like, it's in the blood, I guess.
But he taught you the fundamentals.
Yes, the
Okay.
fundamentals. Lots of yelling. That was part of the fundamentals.
That's
but
normal. That's normal, right? But at least you
But-
got and then you liked it at that age. Like, did you?
when I actually got to start tiling, like actually doing stuff, measuring stuff myself, that's when I started liking it more. At the beginning, it was you're doing all the grunt work and stuff. You think it's just you're going with the flow, do what you got to do, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But when you should actually start doing stuff, then you got to use your head more. You got to use certain things. So
But that's the case for everybody when you're bringing on a new apprentice or anybody else that's coming into. You got to kind of give them the dirty job, so to speak. Like,
but the one thing that actually attracted is probably my grandfather,
okay,
right? Like I guess because it was in the family and everything, and all the years and the stuff he did in the union. Because I started out in the union first, just like
that's a
Dom,
different world, right?
with Local 31.
Yeah.
Right.
Just different ball game.
Yeah. There it's go, 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 go. So you pick up the speed there and everything. But then with my grandfather and especially my uncle, he did more of the custom stuff, my uncle, after.
But with the union work, you're taught how to be or how to learn to be efficient, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you have to be.
The main thing is showing up on time.
Is that a constant problem these days for everybody?
Oh, yeah.
Or, yeah.
With
Still?
new employees, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
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 Oh, yeah.
Okay.
If you're not on time, yeah, then your envelope's a little thicker at the end of the week.
So then, okay, so the old man taught you. Now you have an apprentice right now. You teaching anybody
I did before, but then he branched off into something else.
a different trade?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
What
But
did he
I'm
go into? Do you know?
Electrical.
There we go. See, that's why I made. I know where I was
Yeah.
going with that one, right? That's why.
Yeah.
So.
Cleaner, yes.
And then
No
Steven?
fence it.
Steven from Frank's Flooring. I work for my father, Frank. He's been doing this for about 18 years. He started working with my grandfather when he came here from Italy, doing plaster, didn't like it, did his own stuff. Once he started his own business, I was working with him when I was about 14, 15, hated it. All the way up until I was about 17, 18, I really decided that this is what I'm going to do with my life. A bunch of my friends were working for him, so had some good vibes, good relationships going on there. And yeah, like JP said, once you start doing stuff yourself, you really start to enjoy the trade more. You start to grasp the aspects about it, and it becomes really enjoyable, and hard work is a lot of fun work too.
I'll get into it after we listen to the other two, but I just like your trade is, it's a very hard trade on the body, on the mind, right? It's a very difficult trade compared to other trades, right? So,
Yes.
but we'll get into that. But Alisha?
Yeah, so I started 3 years ago.
Okay.
My business I started a year and a half ago. And I started working with an ex-boyfriend, and we were doing union work as well. So we actually learned together, and once we were getting more comfortable with that, then we moved to custom stuff. And we didn't work out, so I started my own business, and yeah.
Was it nerve-wracking for you to go on your own?
For sure, yeah, because I didn't really have, I had no money. I had absolutely no money.
Welcome to our world.
Yeah. Yeah, so I had to kind of figure it out, and I had a job, and I didn't have a truck until after my first job, so I had to kind of just figure it out on the go. Yeah.
Was it easy to reach out to other people in the industry, or was it a little intimidating?
I didn't reach out to anyone because I didn't really know anyone in the industry. Like doing union, it was just me and him.
Yeah.
So it took me a while to actually meet good connections and be able to reach out. So
Okay. I'm going to ask more questions on that one because I'm curious
Yeah.
myself. And then we have Dominic.
How you doing, sir?
Soft-spoken Dominic here.
Soft spoken, yes. Sometimes depends on the mood. But so I've been tiling for 20 years, let's say.
How young are you?
I'm 46.
Oh, fuck, I'm always the oldest guy. Wait. Don't worry, I'm always the oldest guy here. Okay, all
I
right.
started later in the industry. I went to so my dad is a cement finisher for Dufferin. He was a cement finisher for Dufferin, and he never wanted me to go into construction. He said,
Why?
go to school
Why?
because it's hard work, and he wanted me to use my head.
Yeah.
So I said, okay. So I went to college and I studied marketing, and I graduated with marketing, and then I went into a marketing company, and I worked there for a year and a half. Hated it.
Office.
Yeah, I loved doing things with my hands. So I started landscaping, and I loved it because I
left the marketing?
I left the marketing
Full
and
tilt onto
I went to landscaping. Actually, I was doing both two jobs. I was working on the weekend landscaping, and then during the week marketing.
Just to see if one would take.
And I was making more money on the weekend than a 40-hour week. So I said, this is ridiculous. So I started landscaping full time, and then I met my wife, and her dad was tiling. He had tile company, and I had intentions of marrying her. So she's like, why don't you ask my dad if you want to start tiling?
Didn't know anything about tiling.
Nope, nothing, just interlock, more or less, right? So
I guess it's
similar.
a kind of tiling.
Similar.
Right now, all the hardscape guys are freaking out.
Yeah. So I started working with him, and he had contracts to do loblaws, with anything to do with loblaws. So we were doing a lot of loblaws. So I started doing vinyl flooring first, which was a great way to start learning, because to do your cuts, to make everything perfect, vinyl has to be perfect. There's no joint.
No.
So that's how I started, and 2 weeks into it, I just loved it. And again, I started with the union, so we were like production. So it was go, 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 go. And
Was there enough time to learn?
that's how you learn. You just he would
just keep
put me
going.
on the floor, says, cut this, do that. So the first 2 years, all I did was cut, clean, and grout.
Mm-hmm.
And then he would put me in remember Holy Smokes?
Yeah.
Tile that. Because he would throw it, and then he would come and check it. He said,
By yourself, leave you there?
yeah. He said, go and start it. Anyway, fast forward, after a year and a half, I started running a crew of my own. And I was still an apprentice, and I was running it because I loved the job. So I took the time to learn all the aspects that you needed to know, like squaring off a room 3, 4, 5, if a lot of people understand that. And figuring out how to start, where to start to get the best pieces
Yep.
and the most production. So
Yeah.
that's how I started. And then we continued, and He retired after 17 years working with him, or no, sorry, not 17, 15 or 16 years working for him. He closed, and I opened up my own company.
What's the name of his company?
Village Marble and Tile.
Okay, all right.
And we were well known. We did a lot of Loblaws. Then we started dealerships, and that's where me and JP met on. I hired him to come and work with me at a Toyota. We were doing a Toyota.
It's funny you guys say that because I don't know if I'm the only one, but I think a lot of times I walk into commercial places, I look down and I'm like, somebody I know must have laid this tile here. Like somebody, because I know a few people that are doing the night shift, the weekend shifts to get all that work done, because none of that can happen during the day when business as usual, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, but a lot of other people just don't pay any attention to it. But if you're in the trades, you understand that someone's here. Not just tiling, it's the electrical work, the framing,
there's
everything.
a lot of
there's
trades.
a lot of stuff that
we
goes
met
on.
a lot of people, made a lot of friends because you're just working together with people, right? So anyway, I met JP then, and I loved his attitude. I loved that he had focus, and he loved doing. He wanted to be perfect, which is something I really thrive on. Like I like when people care about their job. If you don't love it, don't do it.
Yeah.
And I respected that from him, right? So anyway, we became friends at that point. We worked together for so long, and then after the job was done, he went his way, I went mine, but we still kept in contact. And then I just started going, and I didn't want to do commercial anymore. You know, the last
Learn
job,
what you could learn from it.
Yeah, the last job I did was Maple Leaf Gardens, the Loblaws and Maple Leaf Gardens. It was 14 hours, 16-hour days.
Or is it the Loblaws, or is it the Maple Leaf Gardens? Which
Maple
one?
Leaf Gardens.
No, I know, because
they
Loblaw,
bought it, and
I
then
know.
they turned it into a, so I was there for 4.5 long months, and I got it done, and that was one of my greatest accomplishments, because you know, you turn and your father-in-law turns to you and just hands you the drawings and says, "Here, this is yours," and I was like, "Wow!" This is one of the biggest tile experiences I had to do on my own. I had 12 guys with me, and to run a job, really, really hard. A lot of stress. But it was, it was fulfilling. Galen Weston really, really respected what I did and how I worked, and managing a team and getting to get them to their fullest potential, to lay the tile exactly the way I wanted it. Right. So JP can vouch for me about how much I plan. I would go home and open a drawing and just.
It's almost more challenging when you got such a larger space instead of a smaller space.
It's a little easier, actually, because there's more you can get away with when it's larger.
Okay.
But
I was thinking more about where do you begin, where do you end kind of thing.
Yeah.
Versus a smaller space, you're almost always dictated where you're potentially going to start and end from, right?
True.
But a larger space,
But a larger space, sometimes it's also following through with other trades. So if the other trades are done in one area, we jump in and do that. And so we work together. So it's, again, on a job site, working with your other trades is very important, respecting your other trade. Yeah. So, you don't want to leave a mess for the other trade.
No,
you want to work together so everybody works efficiently and everybody's happier. I'd rather go to a job and everybody helps each other than everybody's on top of each other arguing, which is not,
because the job goes a lot smoother. That's how it is, right? I love that we have such a diverse culture, like cross section here. 3 generational, and you're just getting started, right? And I'm not saying I'm just saying that you're getting started, but you guys are generational, and I'd love to get an idea of what you guys today see different from the days that when your parents or your dads were doing it at that age. What is the one key thing that's slightly different? Or even if, Alisha, if you can kind of share on that, on what you've seen change in the industry.
Pride
is different.
That's the best.
It's not there.
Now people care.
I see a lot of, you got to remember too, man, is like a lot of the guys that are his father-in-law's age or my father's age, they're either retired, the guys that actually cared, right? A lot of the people coming in now, they don't care anymore.
Is the lack of caring associated with money?
I don't think it's the money, to be honest. I like maybe in a sense, but I don't think it's totally the money. I think it's just get it done. Who cares? Move on. Get paid. You hear guys like, what is that saying? Everybody says good enough for Canada.
Good enough for Canada?
You got
How
that.
many
I've heard
guys
it's
on
good
jobs?
enough, but not Canada.
No, but
But I wonder if the Americans are saying good enough for America, and then Italy, good enough for
You
Italy.
hear guys when you're on job sites and they're saying this, I'm looking at them like, okay, well, you just screwed me on that part. Good enough for me, I guess, right? Like,
Really?
Yeah.
Are you guys seeing?
Lack of good work ethic. I think that's really the
So
problem.
it's a person.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it is too.
Yeah.
But
I've
also
seen
the
a lot
job
of
sites.
It's how you're trained.
a lot of young
Yes.
guys come and go with us in the past couple of years, and
How long do they stay on average with
Uh,
you?
couple paychecks, so maybe
That's
2
it?
months, and it's either too hard for them or they expect more money, and it really depends on the person and who they are and what they want to do with their life, because a lot of younger people I find don't care. They just want to do it for something part-time. When it's a full-time job, it's something I'm passionate about. And then, a lot of older people, they either care or they don't. It goes both ways. I see it.
I had 72 hours.
2 hours?
I had 4 hours.
Really, huh?
4 hours.
As soon as, because I thought, like with me, for example, the best thing to do is find someone young, right out of high school or something. Maybe they don't want to go to
Okay.
college, but they want to learn a trade. And if they're passionate about, it doesn't matter what trade you get into. It's enough to be tile. It could be anything.
Could be any trade.
But if you want to learn, you'll notice in the first week they want to learn. I've looked at that. You'll
So
know
what's
in
the
1
first
week.
sign that you guys see from someone who's getting in, and you can tell that they're not sure if they want to be in this trade?
Well, they don't put a lot of, so they don't care. You can see it.
But what's the signal?
Thinking
that they're-
ahead.
Okay, so they're not planning for the day.
No, thinking ahead.
If you get, for example, if I get an apprentice that I want to try someone, which we go through lots all the time, but if you get a guy that is already thinking ahead of what you might need and what you might want to do,
you keep them.
that interest is there. That sparkle in the eye is there. And then you wait till the next week. You say, okay. And then you give him, my always test is the grinder, how steady your hand is.
Some guys are,
Your reaction to it, right? That guy that I had for 72 hours, as soon as I give him the grinder the first time, I say, okay, here. I showed him 2 seconds how to do something. He kind of veered off. Oh, it's too much dust for me.
But then you put a mask on.
So I said, okay, so you go and get a mask and you give it to him. He's like, oh, I don't think this is for me. This was 72 hours.
Am I fair to say that
Oh, wow.
I guess a lot of the new kids coming into the business, not just tiling, but just trade, do you want them, I think so, that they should have enough of an interest in your business as much as you do? And when I say that, they should care enough about what they're doing reflects to your business.
Every
Yeah.
business should be like that.
Yeah.
'Cause you're dealing with a lot of clients, and if they can't respect you or your clients, then they're not going to respect the business in whole.
He's right. Yeah.
So it's interesting that you there's always it's like two sides of a coin of a tradesperson
Yeah.
coming into the business. Like you're coming into the exact same day, like the universe, the way it's all set up. Sun comes up, you've got your 8-hour day, 10-hour, whatever. It doesn't matter how you guys work your business, but you've got an opportunity to either learn, challenge yourself, install something amazing, cut something perfectly, or not care. And spend those 8 hours not caring, or spend those 8 hours learning something new, asking someone that's more experienced. Like you guys, I would enjoy rubbing elbows along you guys and going, hey, I just want to pick your brain. How did you pull this off? How did you pull
So
that
you
off?
just said the main thing.
What's
When
that?
you were asking the question of what do you think dictates a good apprentice or someone that
just
wants to
answered
learn?
it.
Asking questions.
Yeah.
Simple. But are they in, like Alisha was mentioning, you were a little intimidated, right? You didn't have anybody to reach out to.
Yeah.
So how did you pick up those little tidbits of information that you needed to propel yourself to better projects, right?
I think it was more so just problem solving in my head. Like I would go to bed and I would just be sitting there in bed thinking for hours.
Racking
Like,
your head,
okay,
yeah.
what's the best way to do this? What's the most efficient method? If I lay it like this, then like what's the result going to be? So I had to just think through, use online resources the best I can, and kind of go from there.
Smart.
Yeah.
Yep, I can say I do that too. I
Oh,
go to
yeah.
bed sleeping about this
Yeah.
stuff.
You guys still do it
Doesn't
every
stop.
day, every job, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's just get more and more challenging now, aren't they? All the
Everything's
jobs?
getting challenging
Yeah.
now, right? Bigger
Yeah.
tile, certain things, and your mathematics on that. have to
Larger
be-
Yeah.
tile.
Yeah, like
I'd
the
love to get
slabs.
into the trend side of things because you guys are almost never a part of the trend conversation, but yet you're asked to basically fulfill what they've started.
Exactly.
which is a little bit of a challenge because it would be nice if you guys are part of that conversation to begin with, so you can give your input, your professional input onto the selection process,
But
right?
they don't, and then it's too late after.
So how do you handle that when you've got these trends coming in? And we saw this probably about 10 years ago, where it's all large format was coming in, porcelain was coming in.
10 years ago, it would have been the most popular, 12 by 24 and 24 by 24.
Yeah.
Started coming in.
Those,
at that time.
those are starting to come in.
Yeah.
So 24 by 24 was
But
coming in.
homeowners and designers were just choosing them because that was what it was
less
in the
grout
showroom.
lines, less grout joints. So a lot of designers were coming in and they were like, we want a bigger tile. We want less grout, so it's cleaner. And then borders, and then transitions, different types of everything was like, okay. So we worked with them. We made things happen because we have to. That's our job. It was all problem solving. It's a puzzle. So my father-in-law loved it because he would turn to me and says, okay, we got to do this stone. Figure it out.
How do you have love for that? Where it's like, this stone, you figure it out?
Because he would challenge me. He says, okay, you got to figure out how we're going to do this.
What are the challenging tiles today, guys?
The 5x10
Oh, God.
quarter-inch porcelain slabs.
6 mil slabs.
Yeah, those are fun.
You look at it the wrong way, it might crack.
Yeah, they're very
and
No,
they
it's
do.
true.
Actually very flexible.
Oh, yeah.
Some of them.
Some of them are good. Some of them are like,
Well, some of them are a little bit of a hill.
I
Yeah.
find the black or darker color tiles, those are the ones that are easier to crack. If you have like a lighter color, it's something to do with the chemical composition
And
in
the
it.
print.
The
It's
print,
the print.
everything,
Yeah, the
where
print.
it's made.
So what is it, the dye or the...
It's the dye in
Yeah.
it.
It wouldn't have
Not just
anything-
because it's that color, but those colors are a
Tend to
weaker
have
material.
more fractures and stuff in it more. Like my experience, the best tiles I've installed, color-wise, never had issues, the cement color in the grays.
yeah.
But tile, not actual cement.
No. it
Because I
looks-
played with
tile.
cement ones and
looks
it's
like,
just like...
it looks like
Bring the egg over here because it's going to crack, right?
right?
Yeah.
No, this like
fireplace
they
with
look like a
those.
cement finish, or maybe they might have like a terrazzo kind of look to it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like those, they cut the best. I don't know why. Matte finish.
Interesting.
They were like me and Dom actually just finished 4x4 slabs.
Yeah, that was fun.
Forest Hill, concrete look. Those were actually nice to work
Those are
with.
beautiful.
4x4 slabs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's still big. That's heavy.
That one tile in front of the stairs.
Oh yeah. we had
had
to
to
rip
cut
out
the
the
wall.
drywall out.
Yeah.
See, actually, now that he just said that. So when you were talking about planning, right?
Yeah.
When you pick tiles of that nature, 4x4, 4x8, 4x9, 5x10, they're actually bringing 6x12 in the next year into Canada.
Wow.
When me and Dom were actually at the show with Peygran, they're bringing 6x12s here soon. So when you go for planning and I tell the
That's
contractor,
riskier for you guys, isn't it? Because you take all the responsibility.
On transporting
if
it,
you choose
yeah.
to do it, if you choose to take it.
Have
So-
you tackled them, Alisha?
No,
You haven't tackled them? What's the
No.
largest that you've tackled?
2x4.
2x4. Are you
By
looking
yourself.
forward to tackling?
By myself, I've done it before.
by yourself.
Yes.
2x4 by yourself is still fun.
It's
Yeah, that's a stress on
challenging.
your back.
Yeah, no
Trust
fun.
me, I know.
well, 'cause
Even
no
GP
no
knows.
walls and floors are perfect today, right? If you got to build up a little bit, do certain things.
It
and
all
you're
depends on
picking it up and down.
your
It's that's where it
framer.
gets.
That's where the risk is.
That's where the risk is.
So, what other tiles are we seeing trend-wise that clients are asking, homeowners are asking? Like, who's dictating that boat? Is
Designers.
it more designers, right?
Yeah.
So are we just seeing what's coming out of other countries? Because I know that Canada is not really the design source.
Well, what I've noticed, my personal opinion, anyways, is a lot of the designers are copying what other designers do.
What they see in the
There
magazines.
there's never one
Pinterest.
designer that I've worked with that does their own thing. In the sense of they're totally different from
There's
others.
some of them that do their own thing.
Some,
and
but-
they're really like funky. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you really want this on your floor? Okay.
You get some of the
And you
handmade
just-
tile.
Yeah, I saw that. The ones the handmade. Oh my god.
They wanted me to do 2x4 handmade from Creekside Tile, which is a very well-known tile place that has a lot of the handmade from Spain and Italy.
Yeah.
See, I like that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh no,
It's
I have patience for handmade. I do.
Okay, yeah.
I like doing that stuff. It makes you think more too, even though your head you want to throw something against the wall half the time installing that stuff. But they wanted me to install green, like Hulk green tile on a fireplace, and I just say cool. Right.
Hulk green?
I think that's a trend now because I've seen that too.
I did.
There's a lot of
pink
olive
Yeah.
greens and things like
terrazzo
that.
Yeah.
porcelain tiles, pink
Don't get me started with
and
terrazzo.
green. The whole
Pink.
bathroom.
Yeah.
The
Like
whole
spring.
bathroom. His dad came and says, "Make sure you don't drink before you go in the bathroom." I was like, I was like, it was just like, yeah, I was really out there.
So in the years of experience that you guys have had, has the quality of the product
Gone
Got
down.
better.
No, I think
It depends on where it's from.
What do you, okay, so they were
I'll tell
both
you right
sides.
now,
What
I'll
do you
tell you.
guys? You guys in the middle.
Chinese got better.
Yep.
It really
I'm gonna
depends
agree
on
with him.
where it's from, who's making it. I've talked to a few distributors that go to Italy. They see how it's manufactured, and it's really on the brand, where it's from, who's making it, if the quality control is there or not. Because some of them, you get those clearance section ones, and those 12 by 24s will flex on you too, or they're different sizes, and you're scratching your head. But
Lumberland.
yeah, that's
But the
Have you
level-
seen the
Gem
same
of a
thing,
place.
Alicia?
Yeah, I would say it definitely depends where it's from.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I find Spanish and Italian tiles tend to be better quality.
Very good.
But you guys were saying that Chinese
Chinese
material now
on
is
the
Got
bigger
up
ones,
better.
on the bigger ones, what I've noticed is if it's a rectified edge,
okay.
a lot of them might be 1 mil to 2 mil, depending on the differences. Yes, on
But
the
they're
bigger
allowed.
ones.
Yeah.
And what the most important part is not even the size difference; it's the bevel. If it's over polished, that
Yeah.
creates a bigger joint now, and now
Or
you're going like this,
inconsistent.
trying to fix it to make
Yeah,
it look
true.
good. Never mind flowing it, even if you're.
But I
perfectly
challenge
square.
all the designers out there to realize that there has to be a minimum thickness for a grout joint, for the actual grout to do what it's
yes.
supposed to
Minimum
do.
is 1.5, I think, minimum.
minimum.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and a minimum depth as well too, right? So this is what
Well,
I've
the
been
depth
taught.
The depth is
No. So for that grout to work the way it's supposed to work, you're supposed to have a minimum on both sides, on the depth of it and the width of it.
In somewhat,
sticks.
Yeah,
somewhat.
yeah. Otherwise, so it sticks exactly. Otherwise, it could fail at that point, right?
Well, cement helps it too, right? When you put enough
Yeah.
cement, that'll help bond the grout.
So how do you guys handle dealing with clients and designers where it's the first time you're touching this tile? This podcast episode has been sponsored by Klassen Bronze Limited, authorized Canadian and U.S. wholesale distributor of Peygran heavy-duty, high-performance tile leveling systems and installation tools. Choosing to buy outstanding and beautiful tiles also requires buying an exceptional tile leveling system. For hassle-free installation and an exceptional leveled finish, choose Peygran. Imitated, never duplicated. Available at Amazon, select ProSol stores, and purchased at www.tileLevelingSystems.shop. You can also find Peygran on social at Tile Leveling Systems and their website, www.peygran.com. It's the first time you're working with this tile. It's not like
Pray.
every job you just pray.
Pray, but
No, you can't pray while you're submitting invoices. But I mean, like, how do you have the confidence to kind of never touch this tile? I know the scope here. I've seen the layout. They've given you a drawing, let's say, whatever, if it's going to be borders, whatever. How do you guys communicate that, I guess, professional confidence to that end user?
Go with the flow.
So for
cool
me, the first time we did slabs, they were the 3x8, and honesty is one of the biggest key roles in this industry, because a lot of guys will just kind of go with the flow, or hope for the best, and oh well, if it breaks, I don't know, and close their eyes. But we were honest that we didn't do that before. We haven't tackled a big project, and we had 14 of these slabs to do in a house in Forest Hills, a really nice house, and steam shower, ceiling, miters, cuts on every angle you could possibly imagine. And we bought the right tools. We did the job. We took our time and explained to them that, we cannot do anything if it breaks. Like, this is what it is. Like, tiles break all the time, especially the more fragile. And you're carrying it up 3 flights of stairs. You are praying constantly all day, but,
hit a corner,
yeah.
it's all over.
And, I actually made a mistake on one of those tiles that I'll never let down, where we had 4 different cuts, a mitered edge on it, and about to spread cement, and I just touched it with the trowel on the miter edge, and it chipped. It was a white tile, but it had like a texture on it, so it looked like
could see
drywall.
Yeah.
And we had to redo the whole cut. Luckily enough, they bought an extra tile, and it didn't come out of our paycheck or anyone's, because we ended up using parts of it for other things. But yeah, you just got to be honest and upfront with them. Say, like, this is what it is. I'm going to do my best. If I can't tackle it, you might have to call somebody else. But
I bring it up because it's like the cost of material these days is getting so much higher
It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
that clients and designers are most likely not wanting to bring in more than enough or just give you enough to and
100%.
But that's
But you
ridiculous.
can't do
know-
that, right?
You know
It's
how
not
many
really
times
fair.
that even JP,
Yeah.
we hit this spot that we started something and then we're short tiles. We lose the day.
Those 4x4 slabs.
Yeah.
We lose
True.
the day.
They were
Like,
short two pieces because you know what I think, man? It's like the designer and the contractor. I would tell them, I'll measure the room for you. I'll tell you what you need. They don't do that half
Well,
the
I
time.
go back to the beginning of this conversation where it's like you guys need to be a part
They'll
of the
go-
privy
yes.
of the conversation
I've
of what's being selected.
Yes.
I've seen designers on site going like this. 1, 2, 3.
Oh
I'm not
my
joking.
goodness.
And I'm like, and I go up to them. I said, but that's not how you count.
Are they doing
square-
hopscotch or are they like taking
That would have been
What is it?
interesting at least. But I'm like, but you can't count like that. That's not how you do it.
There's no room for
Right?
error.
Because no
No.
2x4 tile, 2 foot by 4 foot tile is 24 by 48.
No,
No.
that's another thing.
That's the other problem is most
We
of
all
them,
know that.
I guess is like 23 and 5/8 by
Yeah.
47
Yeah.
sometimes
And
or
a quarter or
47 and an 8.
3/8.
Am
So
I the only one that stood up in suppliers' rooms, showrooms, and said, okay, don't talk to me about this being 48 square feet or whatever it is,
Yeah.
right? This is not 48 square feet. This is the exact, I'm calculating it right now. This is the exact square footage. So, I mean, like, you guys ever do that? Because you need to order more material for the job that you're going to do.
I think by doing that at this point, they just don't care, the suppliers. They're not the ones making it. They're not the ones bringing
So there's
it
a
in.
difficult relationship now. Like this is what we're bringing in. Live with it. Use it. That's what I didn't like about the introduction of porcelain into the North American market. They came up with a really good product, but they left everything onto you guys to figure out how to install it.
100%.
Yeah.
And if it failed, they left it again onto you
Onto
guys,
us.
which wasn't fair.
No, I've called manufacturer before directly in Spain for an issue I had. There's a tile store. You're not going to do anything with them. You're not going to go anywhere with the retailer. You got to go directly.
Talk to the manufacturer.
Manufacturer, they said the same thing after to me too. Oh, we can't help you.
But then you ask your colleagues, right? You ask your friends. You know, I ask, me and JP talk.
Is there a lot of that going on? Like, do you guys see? Do you see it now, Alicia? With like, are you
Yeah.
reaching out to other people through
Oh,
social
for
media
sure, for
and
sure.
talking to other tile
100%,
setters
yeah.
and other people? Like,
Yeah.
I definitely think that you guys might even be talking to some large slab guys, right? Manufacturers,
I
fabricators.
have good friends of mine that's what they do for a living. So
Yeah.
that's why when you said when they're introducing these big things, that I call them in, and
They're the ones that are handling it.
yeah, because that's what they do every day.
Yeah.
See, okay, one guy told me stick to what you know. Don't do things that you don't know. If you want to, then start small. Don't take on something big.
But aren't the principles similar? When you start talking about 2cm or 3cm slabs, the principle of installations are similar.
They're
to
similar.
6 mil?
Yes.
Similar. There's probably even more fragility. Like, it's
Yes.
like you got to be a lot more careful because.
Oh,
there's-
yeah.
But you
I
have to
mean,
also have the right tools.
The right
I've seen
tools,
guys
yeah.
cut 2 mil or 2cm quartz, like a sliver of it, and not break. And I'm like,
different material.
I know it's quartz and glue and all this
Yeah.
other stuff, right? But I was impressed with that. You can do that with certain things,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Then you get that funny smell.
You
in
could
the
do
air
that
or
with
whatever.
porcelain too. You just
that's
gotta
really bad for
take
you.
your time.
So you just got to take your time with it,
Yeah.
right? Are there any tile materials that you guys like to see introduced into the market?
Materials as in
Like which material?
Anything
Like
at
more
all?
marble or more
Anything at
natural
all? Like,
stones?
I don't know if you guys have heard the show, but I'm not a huge fan of glass block, and I don't want to ever see it
Yeah,
again.
Glass block.
And I was in
I
some
don't
mall
even like
recently,
glass
and there was
tile.
2 retails
Yeah.
that had glass block, and I was like, "What's going on here?" It's like 1970. So it's just like, are there materials that you guys like to see? Like, I remember a lot of glazed, I guess, subway material that came and went really fast.
Well,
Crack glaze
yeah.
Yeah.
came
Yeah,
and went.
yeah,
And
yeah.
It's like
I was
it
a
looks
huge
like a
fan of it.
shattered look.
Yes,
Yes.
and
I
I was
don't
a
like
huge
it.
fan of that.
I don't like it.
Why?
It looks broken.
It keeps on snap, crackling, popping.
When you cut it,
Yeah, I know.
I
know.
it's frail. It's garbage. I mean, anyway, when me and JP went, when we went to the last show at
Coverings.
Coverings, yeah.
we saw glass 24 by 48 tile. Was it
Wow.
24 by 48?
No, it was 4x8.
How thick was it?
But you got to
Oh,
remember,
but they had different sizes.
they had different sizes, and there was
were
prints done
beautiful.
on glass and lit up with LED. Was
Okay.
the most gorgeous thing I've
All
seen.
right, so let's talk about
That's nice. But I'm not
glass
installing.
wise. This is what I have a problem when glass was introduced. Salespeople were talking about how you need to get a glass cutter to install it.
Glass blade does help, yes.
Glass blade on a wet.
No, they wanted a glass installer. So they wanted someone who installs like
Glass.
shower enclosures and glass
Oh,
material.
wow.
And I argued with them. I said, no, this is still a glass film on top of
Ceramic.
ceramic,
Yeah.
which is basically every porcelain tile. technically speaking.
Some of them are even.
It's a glass coating on top of a
Yeah.
cementatious material, right?
Yeah.
So why are you telling your clients that you need to go speak to glass manufacturers or glass
I have
trades
no
and
idea.
not tile trades? In my opinion, this was a tile trade because most tiles are glass faced.
Yes. Well,
Ceramic.
unless you get
Not all of
porcelain
them.
full-
So there is
full
one
body.
tile actually. Actually, I'm pretty sure me, Steve, or maybe yourself, or Dan, we've installed them. The micro cement.
Yeah.
So it's 4 different layers in that tile.
Micro cement.
So it's a not micro cement. Sorry, the white one with the glass marble. It's got all these different layers in it. It's a pain to cut.
Oh, you can't cut it with a tile cutter.
It's
It's
5/8
porcelain?
thick. It's porcelain, but it's got the top layer is a glass finish.
Yeah.
Then it's like a stone
you
material.
can
then
see
it's
it through the
porcelain.
body.
Exactly.
Yeah. You have to use a
So
wet saw.
Yeah.
And the wet saw screams when you cut it.
It's a different kind of porcelain.
It's a different. The
like,
top
please
layer is
no.
actually glass.
So that's the question: is how do you cut it? You treat it
You got to use a wet saw.
Wet
for that.
saw.
You have to
wet
use
saw,
a wet saw.
right?
for
Yeah,
that.
that's what I figured.
You can't use a
Yeah.
towel.
Otherwise,
cutter
you're
on
going to
that.
chip it,
But
right?
it takes forever on a wet saw. It still takes forever. It's
It'll-
like cutting actual glass. Because to cut glass tile, it actually you should go slow. You shouldn't be cutting it quick, because to get a nice edge on it when you
Clean cut.
yeah, with a good blade. But again, like cutting these things were like crazy. I just listen. At this point in time, when I switched from commercial to custom, I choose what I want to do, and that's the
When you go custom.
yeah, when I go custom. So if a client says, I want this, I can't help you with this one. If I'm not comfortable doing something, I walk away. And it's, what? I stress that on everybody out there. Don't do what you don't feel confident doing. If you have confidence in doing what they're asking, do it. If you don't, walk away, because the stress and that you have to deal with is not worth it. At the end of the job, if you don't get it done, you don't get paid. You want to take that risk?
Do you guys feel the younger trades getting into the business are thinking this is easy because of we've got a clip system, we've got all the tools, we've got everything?
I rarely actually see a lot of the younger guys getting into our industry.
They don't get into the industry. I've
we
seen it
do.
a few
What is it?
times where
Maybe
they
a
just
handful?
jump in, but they don't
I'm
last.
part of the handful, I guess.
No, I'm saying
they
like
don't-
actually
See, I'm
hardcore.
saying they get in, but they don't last.
It's
But
the
they don't
work.
last,
It's
yeah.
hard work. They're not used to it. Listen, society right now, because of my age, I think I'm older than a lot of you guys. So what I've seen is that now when you see these young guys come in, they're not used to doing all this hard work. It's because how we're raising these kids now, they're weak. They're weak. When I was
It's true.
raised,
Don't hold back, Dominic.
I'm saying.
No, he's right. I have to
They're-
agree with him
they're-
on that. They are.
They're spoiled. They're spoiled,
Yeah.
guys. I'm sorry. If
Listen,
I'm
there's
offending-
a list of trades that I don't think the younger generation is going towards, and I think that would be
No.
like concrete, tiling, roofing.
No, it's too hard for them.
Framing is borderline.
The last time I spoke to one of the guys at Local 27,
Mm.
right? He says as of right now, the biggest demand in North America is tile setters,
Wow.
stonemasons,
I believe
bricklayers, and concrete finishers.
Those are all the
believe
hardest.
that.
Those are the four
That's why.
trades that a lot of the guys, let's say you're born in Canada, born and raised, born in the US, born and raised, they're not getting into it.
But here, I'll say this: they're the most profitable. If
done
your
right.
business,
You do it right.
If you do it right.
Yes.
Yeah.
If your business is set up
They are the most
correctly,
profitable.
it's potentially the most profitable, right?
Yeah.
You have
Yeah.
to just have to establish your business,
And you have to like what you do.
Yeah, but you can be smart about how you do it too. I'm not talking about cutting corners. Nobody's interested in cutting corners.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that if you handle the trade properly and you can set up the business properly, you could actually make a really
Be
good
very
living.
successful.
Yeah,
Yes.
you can.
100%.
Very comfortable.
So that's why I guess there's that disconnect where who's not teaching the younger trade this, and who should be teaching the younger trade
Well,
this?
put it this way: when I was in Local 31, right? Again, we knew people in there. My father, he's still in the industry. He sells a lot of the acetone and chemicals for a lot of the stone shops in Toronto.
Yeah.
And he got me into a company, Jem Campbell, when I first went into the union. And I noticed that they just make the younger guys coming in. Like I already knew some of the background because of my grandfather and helping them, right? But they keep the younger guys just doing more of the grunt work for years, not just 6 months or something.
I know, but
And what the journeymen should, in my opinion, you want to get new tile setters in the industry that actually like what they're doing and everything. You need to set up an apprentice with a journeyman. He goes to that part. Apprentice with the journeyman goes to that part. That's how you're going to learn the most, not just go grout this floor, go clean these boxes.
Well, here's
gotta
the
make
other
them
thing.
excited.
That
Exactly.
Why
Yeah.
is there not? You guys are all being taught by handed down, right? Then you're
Yes.
searching online or what have you. Why don't we have any kind of educational regulation?
Well, we do.
What?
We also have, remember, let me get into it. The TT Mac
But those are.
and the Guild, they're dinosaurs. I'm going to say
Yeah,
it. You guys listening to it, you
I
all
don't want to
dinosaurs.
go in there and go teach me how to put a 12-inch by 12-inch ceramic tile.
Yeah.
So they do have the trade school, the tile, marble, and
Yeah,
terrazzo
yeah,
trade
yeah.
school. They get the Ontario College of Trades Hammerheads program. I don't know if you heard about that,
No.
Manny. So the Hammerheads, they get like sort of kids out of high school that don't want to go to college or something, but they want to learn a trade.
Okay.
They bring them to all different schools, not just tiles, but HVAC, electrical.
To get a sense of it.
They get a sense of it,
Okay.
and if they like it, they stay in it. In the tile one, because I had to go through the courses to get my red seal, to get my paperwork, right, as fully journeyman. 35 students in the class
How many survived?
Wow. Ouch.
that actually wanted to be there. 4.
So why do you think it was 4? Was it the way it was being taught or what was being taught?
The teacher at the trade school, listen, he's been in the trade for a long time. He's been in the trade for a long
I
time.
can't tell you the last time I asked anybody in an orange apron anything. Like, I don't ask that question, right?
You know what
So-
the thing is he does teach. He does teach, the teacher that was there. He's a great guy. My grandfather worked with his father.
Yeah.
Generation after generation. Like,
Okay.
you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
the fundamentals of doing certain things in the trade school, it would be like a week of doing this. Okay, next week you're doing that. And just go and do it and do some paperwork. But as a teacher, if let's say I wanted to open up my own trade school, I'm going to get on my hands and knees and I'm going to work with these people.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not just there because
Yeah.
I don't want to lay tile
No, no,
anymore
but you
and I'm
have
getting
to
a
do
paycheck
that.
from
Yeah.
the guild, so I want to
know.
stay in there.
You have to get your hands dirty.
TT Mac and all of them, I'm going to say it publicly. They're dinosaurs.
No, I know.
We
we
need
know
young
that.
blood in
I've-
there.
I've
We
shared
need
that.
people that actually enjoy what they're doing now. They don't bring new materials either. So example, the school, they don't teach you about, let's say, Prova, Schluter systems, Latacrete. These are the things that are coming into the market now. This is what you have to adapt to. This is what you have to learn. If you're going to work in the union, even then, big jobs, Mapai contracts, Schluter contracts, Ardex contracts.
It's all spec.
It's all spec.
But then if it's spec, then you should educate yourself on those specs to learn it before you even get onto the job site, right?
Exactly. But there are not a lot of people that do that. In my opinion, if you're going to get apprentices that want to learn tiles, the basics of prepping should be the starting point. Not laying tile, not doing this and that, prep.
Yeah.
Your
I
prep is
agree
the
with
most
you.
important.
That's everything.
I
And
totally agree.
after the prep, like prep's getting a little bit easier in the sense of the material we're using today compared to, let's say, before.
The techniques and the tools and everything. That's
Self-level.
And the
Or-
one,
Yeah.
the
Easier for us.
the most important thing I think is every apprentice needs to know how to do dry pack. They're not teaching that anymore because they're making. Listen, the foam pans, the companies, they're great, they're awesome, save a lot of time on your back and everything.
They're
but
great if it's a 48 by 48, a 32 by 60.
Yeah.
well,
They're
no, the other
wonderful,
thing too is
right?
you got to remember, Manny, is if your substrate is not flat, it has a hump in it. Like you can build up those foam pans a little bit depending on the thin set you're
But
using.
technically, you should self-level it first, then put
Yes.
the foam
And-
pan in. But that starts to increase things. And
Yes.
then when you could
So
actually
at that
just do a
point
dry
there,
pack,
now
right?
you can just use dry pack. And you can still use the products to waterproof and do certain things. But a lot of the kids today, and I see it a lot of the tile setters that I meet, and I said, oh, so did you dry pack that? Oh, no, I use the pan. He goes, I've never done dry pack. I go, you've been in the trade for 7 years. You've never done dry pack in a shower?
I guess it's also, I guess, a lot of plumbers that are in the industry that mostly focus on residential don't really touch copper all that much, right?
Not
Until they
as-
get to either the valves of the hot water tank or
Yeah.
if it's a instant hot water tank or something, maybe, but they touch a little bit of it. So they wouldn't have the same experience as an older generation plumber, right? So it's,
No, you're right,
I
yeah.
agree with you. I think that there's two arguments. You've got the kids coming into the business that want to get tiling sooner,
Exactly.
but you got the people that are in the business that want to educate the kids more before they get tiling sooner. Is
That's
that
still
not correct?
that's still maybe a handful of people that actually want to teach.
What do you
people.
what do you want to see from the kid when they're ready to start tiling? What do you want to see from that person, that tradesperson?
I
Their
don't.
Attention to
ability to
detail.
work.
Sorry?
Attention to detail, for sure.
I want to see
Yeah,
him figure out how to map out a room.
Yeah.
Like,
Same
okay,
thing.
here's a room. Where do you start? Where do you finish? How are you going to start? What piece is going to go here? What you plan all
So
this?
how would you
room.
do that? You would get the person and go, here's the room. I'm going to be the other one.
Yeah.
I'm going to
Snap
come
some
back.
lines. I'm going to come
I'm
back.
come back, and you tell me how we start and finish
Yeah.
this.
And I'll see if it's
Yeah.
the right way. And if he's excited about it, then it's a good sign.
Yeah.
So it's all about attitude on a job site. Everybody has different attitude. If he's like, I think it's okay, whatever. Like when you hear that, like, don't give a shit. Excuse me I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but
This is the
Just
construction life.
if he cares about what he's doing, then it's a good sign. If he doesn't, then it's like I had one apprentice. He was great. He was what JP said. He was a pig worker. He would come through the union, come and grout every day.
Pig worker?
Pig. He's a pig. You just throw him over there and throw him. He's gonna grout all day. He's gonna make his hours.
Picturing the squealing on the job.
Yeah.
site.
So he would grout for weeks at a time, just clean garbage, open tiles, but he would never lay
But
tiles.
do they not understand? I
But
go
hold
back
on,
to my
Manny,
point.
but the union, okay, what they would do is they would accumulate their hours and they would go from first to fourth year apprentice
Just
grouting.
grouting. Yeah.
And they were getting paid to grout. They didn't know how to install a tile. I had a guy, he was
That makes no sense.
fourth year apprentice, come and he's like, Dom, can you teach me how to tile? I go, how many years have you been in the union? I go, 4 years. 4 years? I says, you don't know how to lay a tile? So I said, you're going to come work with me for 2 months. He came to work with me. Do you know that I would make him do the closet? I would make him snap lines. I would say, okay, do it like this. You know why I taught him? Because he wanted to learn. And then
But you were giving them opportunities.
Exactly. And that's the problem.
It's easy to do the field.
Nobody gives nobody any opportunities anymore.
So coming in custom resi, how long should it take? Okay,
Custom's a way different situation.
Give me the timeline of how long it should take. So new kid on the block comes in, and it ain't Danny or any of them. It's just new kid on the block, and he comes in, and you get him or her started. What's the path? You guys tell me. What's the path that they should be?
I believe if he's
I'd love for all you guys to just
if
kind
he's
of.
taught properly
Yeah.
by someone that loves what they do, and he enjoys what he does, he, she, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. But they enjoy it. They want to learn. They want to ask questions. They want to do things. 3 or 4 years,
3 or 4 years before they're laying tile.
right on their own, and not asking
their
anybody.
own, on their
Again,
own.
but that's being taught
Steven,
by
do you-
someone
do you
that loves
still-
what they do.
I was gonna say something more like a year.
Yeah, a year and a half year. I was
Like
with
the guy
custom.
right
A
now
year
that
that
we
you're
have.
confident enough to leave that person on there, and they
Yeah.
can tackle the job.
I mean, first little bit, I want me or my dad to have some supervision,
Of course.
you know, like,
Of course.
because he's there doing. It's 3 guys on our team, so he's doing it with us, constantly asking questions. How are you troweling? Hold it like this, do that, and every time he does it a different way, I go, oh, hold it more upright, you know, correct him immediately. And if you're able to do that constantly, it should get ingrained in his brain. Eventually, you know, after a year or 2 years, he should be able to
okay.
fly a little bit on his own.
Alisha?
I think that should be enough time. Like, I think it does depend on the person and their willingness to learn. Like, after work, are they going home? Are they studying more? Like, watching videos or, like, thinking about what you taught them? The next day, are they making the same mistake as the day before? Like, if they're holding the trowel incorrectly and then, okay, they're back to holding it like that again, you know? So
Were you
it depends.
Were you ready to be on your own before your employer was ready to leave you on your own?
I was not ready. No.
Okay.
So I started everything before I was ready. Like my first day tiling, I got into the bathroom. I'm like, okay, so what do? He's like, just tile it. I'm like, how? He's like, slap the tiles on the wall. I'm like, oh, okay. So
Say that these days because it might actually just slap them on the wall.
yeah, and people do that, unfortunately. So I had to kind of sit there, figure out how to correctly level it and plan it out and do a layout. And so by doing that, I watched like hours and hours of videos before actually putting a tile on the wall. And
This
then
was the
it's
day before, the week before that you were actually doing the job?
yeah. And then when I was there, so it was just like a bathtub, and the tiles were like just about this big. It took me 12 hours, 12 hours on my first 2 days. So yeah, and I got it done, but.
But then at what point, like a year, 2 years later, that you felt confident that?
Well, union work, I would say even less, like 4 months.
Really,
And I felt
huh?
pretty
That
confident.
they leave you alone and then.
I was left alone the whole time.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was the
So
same
I
with you
had,
guys in
I had-
union or no?
yeah, I
you
had
know-
to, I'm telling you, I had to figure out everything on my own.
Was
Everything.
nobody teaching you anything?
Not at all.
So you had to just go YouTube school
Yeah.
and just figure it out from there.
See, I have a problem with that.
YouTube school.
And where does that start from and stem from? The union. Starts from them.
Union is.
Do you know why I said 3 to 4 years, Manny? Because it's not just about putting the tile down. You need to know about prep.
Yeah, prep is everything.
Every application there is, you're not going to learn it in a year. I'm sorry. I don't care who you are or what you do and how good you are. You're not going to learn it all in a year.
If you're on a custom resi and you're working side by side with somebody, I could see what Steven's talking about.
Yeah.
But you're getting a lot more education in a shorter
different.
print.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're one-on-one all the time.
Exactly.
That's a completely
that's
different ball game.
right?
But if
Yeah.
you're in the union, like you said, 4 years, you're a grouter.
Professional ground.
And this is the thing, is when they
Very
get to the
high-paid.
4th year, you get your last little bit of hours you need to have your journeyman papers.
Yeah.
Okay, now go write the test. Okay, now go do this and that. Then you're at almost $40 an hour. Go do this room.
So shouldn't it be more about the skill being a cause and effect of your skill set instead of you trying to achieve hours? And I bring that up because I want to also talk about your businesses. How much of your business operating expenses is reflective on how much they care about what they're doing for your business?
A lot of it.
A lot, huh?
Yeah, I
So
mean,
your conversations are kind of dictated by, if they don't care that much and they're not showing you the drive and the passion, then you're in the back of your head thinking about your business is suffering or going to suffer, or I might not potentially get another job.
It's always in
Yeah.
the back of your head.
Always, right?
You need them to progress, not just like progression over years and years. Like you want them to progress pretty quickly. Like my only other job I ever had was at Shoppers Drug Mart for 8 months. Training there was a week or a month or something. So, training in construction can differ on the person. But after 6 months or so or a year, you want them to be at a steady rate where you're not holding their hand anymore. Otherwise, I think in my mind, you are kind of losing money. Maybe you're not losing money per se because,
Time.
You're not making the money
You
that
could be
have.
making more.
Oh, but
Yeah.
time is
Yeah.
money, but that time you'll never get back.
No.
Yeah.
No.
When you can have someone else that actually wants
Wants
to
to
progress,
learn.
wants to learn,
Yeah.
then I'll invest whatever thousands of hours in that person. I don't care.
Yeah,
If they
send them
want
to a training school, whatever it is that gets them to get to that next step.
So what are you guys hearing from the younger trades, how much time they think they should be ready for?
Like in general,
Yeah.
like just any trade.
Yeah. No, tile trade. Like when I'm sure that they speak up to you guys and go, I'm ready. We'll be in, coach.
I
That
haven't,
number
maybe
never
time-
fits.
I haven't had that. I haven't had.
Alisha,
that
you're on your
opportunity.
own, right? So
Yeah.
you're not at the point where you're bringing on, but you're going to get
No.
to the point where you're going to bring somebody on. And so you're going to go through what these gentlemen have gone through, right? Or going through probably on a daily basis. And I'm just trying to get a sense that I get that from talking to some other tile setters. They think they're ready far too early. I think that they need more.
I had a
more-
few guys like that. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no, go.
One guy was grouting in the union for years, and when he saw how we were doing jobs like vacuuming, priming, like all of that, he's like, "Oh, the guys in the union, they just sweep the dust over and start shredding." And I'm like, "Okay, I don't care what you learned. Like, pretend like you're a newborn baby here. Like, go from the ABCs
It
because
does
this
give
is
you
how
more,
we
more
do it."
material in the material. It gives you more.
Yeah, you have to use less cement.
Less
if there's
cement,
dust,
there you
right?
go.
Yeah, but it really is a different ball game out there for every person you meet.
So is it better that they start in the union, or is it better that they start on a custom? Or
I
both
think the union
experience?
is good in the sense of punctuality.
Yeah.
Wake
No,
it
I'm
up.
laughing
Well,
because
because
it's funny as shit.
if you don't show up, you're not gonna
Not
stay.
gonna have a job.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Christmas came early for you.
Yeah, exactly. That's basically
true.
what happens. Yeah.
Right? My father, when he was doing the trade, I remember when the recession hit, he got laid off right before Christmas.
Yeah, that's tough.
When the recession hit.
Yeah.
So, and my father always used to instill in my head, you don't do things properly, son. Christmas is going to come early for
Another
you.
number will
Yeah,
take
I
over.
like
That's
that
what he
answer.
used to
That's
say to me.
basically
That's
it.
good.
Right? But if they learn that punctuality, that's the first step. Getting to the job site on time.
Can't get it in custom.
I got it with our new employee. I mean, whatever previous jobs he was doing, he was very on time. And this guy is so on time that he's the first one there usually. And he's waiting in the
Where was
truck
he
for
coming
us.
from? What other trade?
He was working for GCs,
Okay.
and then he worked in some like production jobs in factories. So, I mean, I'm sure you have to be punctual there. I've never really been a punctual person. It's always been me and my dad's. Get to the job site
Whenever
when
I
you get
get
to the
there,
job
yeah.
site, you got to get a coffee first. You got to do this, and you get there and you start working. And but now it's like we are strict with all that kind of stuff. Not so strict, but we try to be a little bit. And little easygoing at the same time, and it helps. That's
So what I'm going to say to that is that, okay, fine. If you have a job site and there's a lot going on and you have employees, punctuality is very important because you want everybody there at 7, let's say, right? Everybody stops at 9:15 or 9:30, have a coffee, 12 o'clock lunch, 2:15, you have another coffee, you go home at 3:30 or whatever. That's an 8-hour day. It's organized, it's clean, it's that's the way
It's consistent.
It's consistent.
Yeah, that's
that
important.
is great. But when you're working on your own and you're doing a bathroom and you're working at somebody's house,
You can't really start at
hours-
7. That's
your
the
hours
problem.
start when the
They-
owner tells
they
you to
dictate
start.
that, yeah.
Okay,
That's
so
true.
punctuality, yes, is good when you're on a larger scale site. For me, okay, that's the way I see it. When we had like 7, 8 guys, everybody had to be on like 10 minutes before we start, on your knees starting the tile at 7. Okay, that's the way we were very right to the like,
Job
right to
box
the
is
bone.
opened a half an hour
Yes,
before.
yes, yeah, and everything's unloaded and ready to go.
Because you guys have a day set. You
Yeah,
have
but
what's-
production is the only way to
production.
make money.
Yeah.
Because if you don't produce, it's done. Like we had problems with guys laying 50 square feet a day. I'm like, what? So we called the union, and I'm like, who is this? This guy's a journeyman at 50 square feet. He goes, he's going home. Send me another guy. Send me another guy. The union has a lot of issues. I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna bash them because they have a lot of issues. For 20 years they still haven't fixed them. So there's
Or
a.
is it their responsibility to fix
It
it?
should
It
be their
is.
responsibility.
That's why I said the dinosaurs got to go.
Okay. All right. So I want to. I know you guys are all, technically speaking, competitive. You know, you're competitors here, basically, what I'm saying. But what do you guys do that's slightly different between yourselves regarding your business to set yourself apart from the industry? This podcast episode has been sponsored by Klassen Bronze Limited, authorized Canadian and U.S. wholesale distributor of Peygran heavy-duty, high-performance tile leveling systems and installation tools. Choosing to buy outstanding and beautiful tiles also requires buying an exceptional tile leveling system. For hassle-free installation and an exceptional leveled finish, choose Peygran. Imitated, never duplicated. Available at Amazon, select ProSol stores, and purchased at www.tilelevelingsystems.shop. You can also find Peygran on social at Tile Leveling Systems and their website, www.peygran.com.
It's good quality work. Good quality.
But everybody can say that, no?
Yeah, well, that's it.
Majority.
It's
I
just-
think with our industry, that's what it is. Just
It's
it's why we're in love with
just-
what you do.
yeah.
With our industry in particular, I don't know. I just,
customer service.
Steven?
Yeah,
For me, like-
having
sorry.
a positive mindset is honestly a really game changer. Like you gotta,
Just your attitude when you show up on site,
Yeah.
when you're estimating, quoting.
you know, I've seen a lot of guys come to sites and go, "Oh no, it's got to be like this, f that," and it's like, well, sometimes you know you have to take that back and think about how you react to the situation, to the client, because. Like they said, the clients can pick weird tiles sometimes that you do not want to do. Yeah. And, you know, if you want things to go your way, you have to kind of talk to them. And I always look at it like in sports, you can't change the referee's call, but you can talk to him so that hopefully he doesn't make the same call next time. So maybe you don't want
money
those
can do
crappy tiles, but hopefully, you know, they go for the tiles that you preference
No, that
more.
won't happen, brother.
It happens
Sorry.
for me.
Good
I
luck.
get
God bless,
a lot
buddy.
of
That's
clients and
fantastic.
contractors and designers that honestly value my opinion on which tiles we should pick, you know, and a lot of times it goes my way. Not all the time. You got to work with what you got.
But you're selecting,
That's
you're
good.
making your opinion, forming it based on your experience.
Yeah. So like I like to do a lot of 24 by 48s. It's a nice size, less grout. It looks nice and clean and with a linear drain. And sometimes if you could put the drain in the right location, all of those A, B, C, D things make for a very nice, easy, clean install that the client will love, you know?
What do you do, Alisha, to set yourself apart?
I feel like because like there's not many women tile setters, then I kind of have like a bit of a different approach in terms of homeowners because most of my clients are actually women. So I feel like when I go to quote a job, they might feel a little more comfortable, like them being a woman, especially if they're single.
Yep, I could see that.
So I kind of like that's a bit of a different approach that I take, not in terms of like actual installment or anything, but more on like a personal level. Yeah.
It makes sense that you're approaching it that way. You might as well use that then and work it because now it's really at that point, it's the same thing with you guys. You're communicating with the client.
You have
That's
to.
all it is, right?
Yeah.
So you're just
Yeah.
letting them know exactly how you're going to handle everything and how the work is going to go
Communication
along,
is key.
right?
Yeah.
And I guess you guys can never tile fast enough.
No. Sometimes, depending on the material you're
Yeah.
using, you could do 50 square feet in a day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
it all
depends
depends.
on the material and the space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So
So when you guys get busy, how do you guys manage your business time? Because I know when I got started in the industry, and you're like one person, and you start thinking in the back of your head, can I clone? I need 5
If we can
manis.
clone ourselves, we'd be
Yeah,
millionaires.
I know,
Yeah.
but I mean, you
If
can't
only
do
we
that,
could.
So you have to manage the job now and try to figure it out. How you be at 5 different job sites and try to shuffle the schedule. How do you guys?
So when I first actually went full force on my own, which even till today, I'm still working 6-7 days a week. I was working 7 days a week, 14, 16-hour days. Had my first kid at 24, married at 25, house at 25. And I just kept working. Like once you get the rhythm of it, I know it's hard on the body and everything, but I just didn't mind it. Like I enjoyed working all that time. You get people to help you after, and you get apprentices and whatnot. Yeah, it does help, but I enjoy working. I'm a night owl. I like doing long shifts. If I could work at night, I would.
Toll. Like it's just burning
Well,
the
it did at
candle
20,
both ends, right?
26. I got a herniated disc in my spine from slabs. Right now, I'm 32, so I got a herniated disc, L5S1, permanent sciatica damage. I have permanent nerve damage on my left foot. I have a torn meniscus on my right and a bilateral cyst
Oh
on
my
my left.
goodness.
So all those
God bless
hours,
you, man.
Yeah.
all those hours.
Praying
No.
for you.
Listen, my father always told me, he goes, "You're going to burn yourself out by the time you're 35
that's
if you keep
right.
this up."
He was right.
And he was right. It happened earlier. So now I'm thinking about it. If I want to go work on a Saturday now, if I've worked 12 hours during the week every day, now I'm like,
But it's okay. Is that you? You're contributing to, I guess, not managing or scheduling or budgeting the work's flow. So then you have to take it on, or you either hire somebody, like you said, 72 hours, they were gone. So now you had this person in mind that was supposed to work with you, and now
or if you have
to
good
take-
subs that you use,
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
guys that you have a good relationship
So
with.
do you guys shift gears that quickly, where it's like, okay, I've committed to this job,
Yeah.
I've got a client, designer, what have you, and I've got to get this job. You guys schedule everything,
Yeah.
so this job is going to take X amount of days. But if there's a curveball, how do you handle
You
that?
mean like another job at the same time? That there was
It
a
could be
delay or
anything. It could be delay of the
Or
material. It
ads.
could be a delay of maybe it's poor. I don't know, thin set. It could be anything. Machine goes down, or I don't know what
the
it
thing
is.
is if stuff like that happens, we can't really control that. Like,
No.
what are we gonna do?
You work extra hours.
You got to work
on the
extra
weekend.
hours. You work on the weekend.
just
You got to
did.
do what you got to do.
I always leave an extra day or two in the job.
Just in
I
case.
say
That's smart.
like
Yeah.
a shower takes average a week.
Yeah.
Sometimes less,
With
sometimes
prep.
more. Yeah,
With prep.
everything.
Yeah, week's good.
Everything, plumbing, drains, the 9 yards. But sometimes they might say, "Oh, we don't have room for a niche, so let's put a shelf." That's going to save me half a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Things like that
Especially
happen
if
all
it's
the time.
minors.
Yeah, for sure. So you always try to leave yourself a little bit extra time, and then work extra hard to make up for it, and then you can start the next job earlier.
So
Yeah.
why is it that I find that tile installers are the one trade that have the hardest time letting go of the trade and the business and handing it off to somebody else in your business?
This is such like a specific craft. Like I feel like it's so. Like I feel like we're the most like control freaks there are.
But
To
you
be
learned
honest,
it.
yeah.
Everybody here at the table learned it, and then
Yeah.
you want to teach it and you want to hand it off to somebody, don't you? Yes, you do.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Yeah.
But that's what I mean is you guys are the one trade that have the hardest time letting go and getting.
Let me say something. So basically, me and Dom, for example, we worked together. Known Dom for a long time. My grandfather actually worked with his father-in-law
Oh,
back in the
wow.
day.
That's cool.
So
Jim Campbell.
yeah, me and Dom will work together, and we'll butt heads
Yeah.
in the sense of not in the wrong ways, but
In a good way.
okay, Dom, I'll do this. Okay, but why don't you do it this way? Okay, but Dom, I'm gonna do it that way.
And you don't listen.
We don't listen to it. It'll still come out the same. It'll
Then-
still come out the
and
same.
then
It's
what-
just
And JP, what happens after JP? I should have listened to you, Dom. Sorry. I'm sorry. I've
Like,
been doing it longer. Tricks.
it depends, right? I don't know.
But at some point in your career, you're gonna have to hand it off.
Yes.
Like
This
age is gonna make you hand it off.
Yeah.
This is where I'm
Father
at right
time
now
catches
with my
up.
dad because
How old's your dad?
About 63.
Okay.
God bless.
So yeah, and he still loves to have his
Frank
hands
the
on the
tank?
tools. He's a tank man for sure. But he's doing a lot more of the scheduling, the planning, getting the jobs ready, bringing the material to the jobs, making sure the sites are ready.
But your father's, he's earned that.
Yeah, exactly. And I want him to do that, but he wants to still do a lot of the hands-on stuff, which is amazing because we, more hands-on, the better, and we can get the job done faster. But, I took business school. I'm more than prepared to take it over, and I'm not trying to push him out or anything, but,
He's still going to be there. You're going to be retired.
he's gonna be there when he retires for sure because he loves it.
I'm just going to let you know, it's so nice to have somebody else to lean on.
Yeah.
Okay, so
And we lean on each other all the
push him
time.
away so fast.
Do you think the
So-
same thing, Alisha? Like, because you're a one-person shop here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I learned quickly in my early days of construction. First of all, the talking to your voice in your head kind of thing. Like nobody's around. You're all by yourself.
Yeah.
So like you're having conversations, full-blown conversations with people.
As long as you don't
Talking to the
answer
walls at
yourself.
this point.
There was plenty of answers and there was plenty more questions, right? So at some point you'll have to bring somebody on board and then
Yeah.
have to train them and go down that whole road, right? If you want to, I guess, expand if you wanted to do that.
Yeah, for sure.
Or relieve yourself.
Yeah.
It's just to get a break.
Yeah.
You can't keep
Right.
pushing. I don't recommend what you're doing because you can't keep pushing that way.
No, he's gonna
You
be
guys
hurt.
have a very hard trade.
I've already learned.
Yeah, no,
about that
so you
mistake.
pick it up, right? So I got no kinks and everything like that, and I'm 52, right? So it's like you gotta be careful. I've seen guys that are your age or even mid 30s. They're the ones that are starting to fall apart, and they have the harder trades in
We
them.
burn ourselves out.
Yeah.
And we don't learn, like the donkey. It'll
But
fall
I
in a
always
million
say that
holes.
what happens if you get to the point where it becomes chronic, and all of a sudden you have a problem now?
You can't be a one man or one
You can't.
woman show
You
for
can't.
long.
No.
For sure.
So you have to embrace sharing that knowledge to the next generation. Somebody try to find that diamond in the rough, right? That's I know every trade goes through a bunch to just find one half.
and
decent.
I had that diamond in the rough. I did.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
And he couldn't take constructive criticism. And I said to him, listen, this is construction. This isn't an office. That's not to put down people that work behind a desk. I'm not saying that. But if you make a mistake that costs the company money, after you know certain things about that mistake that you shouldn't have done, or maybe you don't ask questions, or how do I repair it for you? The way you talk to the person next to you.
Yeah.
Instead of just shutting yourself down, he kind of just left.
I find the best solution, what I've learned from old and new, because I've learned lots of things from a tradesperson on the first day to the tradesperson on the last day. If your objective on both sides is not about argumentative, it's about problem solving.
That's what he should be. So
That's it. If both bring problems solving to the table, then you'll figure it out together.
Yeah.
And then the objective is accomplished, right?
You can't have like emotions in this business
No.
either. That's the thing. Because that'll
No.
get the best of you, even just on your own
There's
or
egos,
with
everybody's
employees.
got egos, right? So
yeah.
it's like
Leave them at home.
Yeah.
Your ego stay at home. Okay, I'm sorry, but you just got to do the best you can, and you got to relax, and you got to breathe, and you got to, because I had one guy, he would cut a tile, he'd make a mistake, he'd throw the tile across I go, what are you doing? I go, we could have used the other end.
Patience is a virtue.
Money. I go,
What you should have did is if he lost a call while he was talking on his phone, you should have thrown his phone across.
no,
the
I wouldn't listen. Okay,
Yeah, I would've-
violence doesn't. You don't correct violence with violence. Okay, so that's one thing.
Tell that to my grandfather, Dom.
Yeah, well, that's old school. Okay, hold on. Okay, we're not going there today. You don't correct it with violence. So the thing is that he stopped doing it because I explained to him. I says, "You just threw away $7. You just threw away $10."
But
I
that,
said,
you could have used that towel in
I said,
another
relax.
place.
I said, if you
maybe.
broke it, don't worry. Measure it again and cut it. You're still getting paid. I said, I know you're upset. Don't worry. Use the anger and focus on doing what you have to do. I says, and if you have a problem, we're here. Say, hey, Dom, I'm having a problem. Cut this for me.
I'd love to talk about, is it a 4-letter word or a 5-letter word? I don't know. ANSI standards.
What's the ANSI standards? ANSI? What, like,
ANSI standards?
can't stay still?
ANSI standards. Yeah, it's a 4-letter word, right? Yeah, that's what I thought it was. So all the standards that are put upon you guys to make sure that everything's installed correctly.
Oh, okay, now we got it.
I'm going back to TT Mac. I'm going back to the Marble
So that
Institute.
also starts with everyone before us. We're a finishing trade. And if everything
100%.
before us
Subfloor
is not-
thickness, joist spacing, plumbing of walls,
All the
exterior
walls.
Plumbing
applications,
of walls.
right?
See, here's my thing.
Listen, I
It's-
think in the NC standards myself, any wet area, engineered 2x4s.
LSLs.
Yes.
Yes.
And I tell people that
God
all the
bless.
time.
I wish I saw your posts. Those were beautiful.
For the
Insane.
extra money, I tell guys, even if it's just in the shower, that extra couple $100 that's gonna be for just those studs, because yeah, they're not cheap, but it's beautiful.
But what's
They're
more
worth it.
expensive?
especially for us.
I feel like you're at a day spa.
and you have to make sure that it's plumb. Like, what's more
Well,
expensive here?
the thing is, it doesn't have to be 100% level, Manny, as long as it's flat. Some situations you can't go plumb.
Well, I'm always conscious of that for the glass that's going to go in the
Yes,
shower.
Yeah.
100%.
Because that
Yeah.
glass should not have a bead of silicone that I can see.
Well, no,
You know what I
within
mean?
tolerance to a certain
it
amount,
should
but
be
as long
tiny,
as it's
tiny.
flat,
Yes.
you
Yeah,
can
but
have.
I still love it level,
Yeah, of course.
and
Listen,
I still make it level, even if it's flat.
So
I'll
does
make
it ever come across your table, the standards, and having to make sure this? Because I guess when
Yes.
something does fail, see that word comes up. And all of a sudden they start referring back to that booklet saying, okay, well, what was the joist?
well,
What
it's not
was
going
the
to
depth?
fail from not being 100% level flat. That's just acid, and it's not going to fail from that. If
Well,
you're off a
everybody has their-
16th, I'm saying,
Yeah.
that's not going to affect
No, it's
anything.
not
That's
gonna fail.
BS. Right now, you're talking about coverage, failure-wise,
Yeah.
coverage on the tile, how the prep was done. You know what I mean?
What type
now,
of cement you're using? Because if
Exactly.
you have to
The
build that wall
thickness.
plumb, and you're talking
let's say
3/4 of an inch or
you gotta
something,
use a cement that's
proper for
Yeah.
that. That's meant for that.
under the NTCA standards.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. A specific person actually taught me that it's called thin set, not thick set.
Yes,
It's for a reason,
yes.
right?
But
It
they-
loses strength
they-
after a certain amount.
they do
Some-
make-
exactly
It has
that's what he was
shrinkage.
teaching, right? So it's like the scientists have figured out that there's a sweet spot on how much you should have in there, and it should never be like monstrous, right?
Yeah.
No,
Well,
never.
they do make the thin sets if you need to.
That's different. But if you're using everyday kind of application,
Thin set, and then you're building up. Okay, yeah, you're using the wrong thin set
yeah,
now.
exactly.
Well, that's why
right?
you can always. What I like to do is try to screed it level if you can. You
yes,
know.
I've seen you do that many times.
But we go
Yeah.
back to the framing
helps a
where the
lot.
framing should be addressed. at
Exactly.
that point,
Yeah, well,
right?
what
But
can you do?
99% of jobs, it's not.
Right.
Even on new builds, I've noticed.
New
Brand
builds?
new builds.
I know, but so I find it interesting that all shower floors that want curbless still re-engineer the floor system around that
Drop
area.
them.
But the walls are exterior application, and when you're hanging a wall up on a framing stage, yeah, you could check the level, and you can. It's in between the bubble, like it's in between the lines, but it's not exactly plumb.
Yeah.
To me, what's more important is that wall being flat. The rest could
Yeah.
take care of itself.
Yeah.
As long as it's
Humps,
flat,
humps.
no
Well,
bumps.
that's
no-
where I go back to the LSLs, because now you won't have to deal with crowns, right? At all.
Oh, yeah.
So
But not a lot of people use
That's
the LSLs.
that's helpful. Makes the job go a lot faster. It looks a lot better too.
Have you guys ever come across a particular situation where you had to have this scientific conversation, I guess, of something failing at that point? You come across it, Steven?
Once or twice.
The ceiling.
Steam
I
shower.
mean, yeah.
Steam showers.
Yeah.
You're
Fully
always
waterproof.
going to find yourself in that situation where, what's going to happen 10 years down the road, 15 years down the road. Like I've been doing this for about 6 years full time, and I want to do it till I'm my dad's age, so I don't want to be getting calls back. I need to make sure that everything is done by the scientific method, And that's what it is, because a lot of guys just pour water, pour the powder, call it a day.
Mixing it properly too is
Yeah.
very
Are
important.
you guys retraining yourselves? Are you guys always
All the time.
But I
Always.
guess the
In
thing
our
is-
industry, we're always
we
retraining
have to. We
ourselves.
have to stay on
But
top
I
of
have
the ball.
have the suppliers or the manufacturers offered enough
Yes.
that they can go. You guys can go to.
Yes.
And okay.
Oh, yeah.
And then I guess the question is now you're letting go of your business for that day, because if you're a one person shop,
But it's not a loss. You're actually you're learning. So it's listen, every day you learn. I don't care how long you've been doing any trade. Every day,
course.
I could have did this, or I
Yeah.
could have did. we should do it like that because next time,
Yeah.
So every day you learn, and even using materials, new materials come up. Why is this better than this one? And why? Go to a class, learn, or get
Yeah.
educated by your rep.
So go back to your business model. So you're by yourself, Alisha. So you want to go to this training shop. Job gets shut down,
Yeah.
and then you got to go and get the
You
training
don't
because
go
you really need
during
it.
a job. You go when your job is done.
Yeah, I have to.
These
Schedule
trainings
it.
are never on a
Schedule it.
Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah.
Never.
Then you
on.
get your rep to come on site.
Yeah, I've done that a
Yeah.
lot of
And
times.
they do that?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
I've never seen that.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
yeah.
came
Yeah.
on site, educated me on the heating floors, self-levelers.
If
you
they're
name
good
it.
reps and they actually care about the industry and the
Yes.
stuff they're selling, because remember, we're we're their customers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't give us the advice we need or want to help us, but you're good enough to take our money for the material we're using and
It's a loss.
promoting you.
It's a loss on their end.
Yeah.
We'll go to another company then.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What reps did that?
Ardex.
Okay.
But the 2 reps that did that are no longer with
Yeah,
the company.
Tony?
Both Tonys.
Yeah. I know. He was good.
It's like Schluter. If I make a phone call to, I'm sure you know Mike from Schluter
Yeah.
and Simon on them, right away, answer the phone.
Yeah.
I need something. Okay, this is what you got to do.
Yeah, I normally just look at the instructions and I just throw it. The amount of times I've heard from reps tell me, Manny, listen, you can do that, but don't tell anybody you did that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Nothing's ever failed, but
No.
but that's what we are as tradespeople. We're supposed to question, challenge, try
And
something
adapt.
new.
That's right.
I'm not saying that you're going to become the scientist and create a monster here or something like that. You just
No.
you know the principles behind
Sometimes
certain
a
things,
Frankenstein
right?
is fine.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, it's totally 100%.
My own bathrooms are Frankenstein.
I don't disagree with
Nothing wrong
them.
with them.
I'm trying to figure out building code wise. What's tiling?
So there's one code that's actually like a bylaw now
It's
is
a
the heated.
bylaw?
I'm pretty sure it's the heated floors.
Yes.
They
Oh, the
need to get
electrician
inspected.
fiasco?
Inspected, yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's after that stuff that happened with that gentleman in Niagara. They changed everything now.
Yeah.
Had a heart
So-
attack and then
He fell
burned.
cooked
Yeah.
on the floor.
Yeah, he cooked.
So the problem I have with that is that the ESA is already stretched too thin, that they don't have enough inspectors, and now U.S. tile people have to come in and wait.
Yes. No, that happens often. If we have if it's a big build that's got like 7, 8 floors you need heated, you got to inspect it.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll be there in 2 weeks.
So
Come
what
on,
do you
man.
guys?
My
do?
mem- Brings
I've
down,
been
I'm
pretty
ready.
fortunate with that. Within like a couple days.
Yeah, they're good.
I
But,
mean,
it doesn't happen all the time. I'm saying,
yeah,
but
but
when
it
that
will
does happen,
eventually.
it's like
What
my
are you supposed to
membrane's
do?
down, everything's down. I got to start.
So now the bylaw is technically speaking is the electrician has to run the cable.
Yes.
No,
No.
no,
No.
It just has
Yes
to
and
be
no, it
inspected.
depends.
The final connection has to be
be
done by the
a
electrician.
certified
So
electrician.
the tile setter can run the cables,
Correct.
but
Yeah.
you can't connect the cables.
No.
But then they just need to visually inspect the cables before you
Yeah.
embed the cables.
Yes, but
I've
we,
even been able to send pictures to
Yeah.
the inspectors.
so far.
Like, you can't connect it.
Just
What
You
I've
can't.
what
we
leave
don't
the wire
connect it
there.
anyway until
No.
afterwards.
Yeah, exactly.
We test it.
you have
Yeah,
to
you
see.
have
This
to
is the
test
other
it.
thing is I've noticed a lot of electricians. I'm not saying all of them, but they'll do one test. As tile setters, even me, Dom, Steven, we'll test them more than a
3
certified
times.
electrician will.
No, you got to
Yeah.
test them at different stages of
Yeah,
the actual
but
this-
install.
yeah, before, during, and
After,
after.
During.
and then after
It's
again.
like 4
Yeah.
times almost, or
Yeah.
5 sometimes, depending.
I do it
Yeah.
3 times. I do it before, right?
Right.
And then I do it after I put it in to make sure nothing broke.
Before
And-
grout.
Yeah, and then I
after
install,
grout, yeah.
and then I test it again. I did 3 times. Listen, as long as you cover the floor, if you're not having any, you can't put anything sharp on the floor.
No, yeah.
obviously,
Like
right?
a trowel.
or here's a trick. So I don't know if some of you, what I do is sometimes when I do a heated floor and I'm doing a dark tile, let's say I'm going to use gray cement, I'll cover the floor with white cement. And then I'll install with gray cement. So then if ever anything ever happens and I have to remove a tile, God forbid, I can remove it and know the difference. I know already as soon as I hit white, I stop. So I don't hit the
That's
wire.
good
smart.
trick.
Yeah,
Very
no, it's a great
smart.
trick.
It's a smart trick. I mean, listen, I'm on the same page. I don't know if you guys are. Based on, I think, your installs of the videos that I've seen, you guys install at the same time that you're embedding.
Sometimes.
I
Well,
don't.
majority, I mean.
I don't.
No? You're doing.
I
you're
always
in bed
skim.
first.
I
and
always
then
skim.
It's skim, right?
Yeah, I
always
always
skim.
skim.
So technically speaking, I go back to ANSI, right? You're not supposed to do that.
I've heard that you get better heat transfer if you do it all in one shot, or if you use self leveler.
Depending on the level.
Yeah, you got to use the best one.
Liquid
The
backboard is great, right?
Mhm.
But 90% of the time, if it's over, let's say Dietrich heat,
Minimum a
it could
quarter
crack.
inch.
it can crack.
Yeah.
And you
They
know
don't
what?
warranty it.
Listen, okay. So as long as you use the same
So what do you mean?
material
Minimum a quarter inch? Oh,
on
you're skimming
top,
on top.
of
a minimum.
minimum a quarter inch of self leveler on top. So if you're going to put the height. Okay, so listen, I've done
Frodo could touch the ceiling now. I would.
exactly. You see what I'm saying?
That's
If
a
it's
lot.
But
Yeah,
if you
exactly.
install your
Still gotta
and you install
a
your
little
membrane,
bit, though. You don't
put the
wanna
wire down, we
keep
pass
risking
code.
that
I
wire
skim,
coming
and the
up.
reason why I skim snapping lines. So I'm very particular.
I'm on your train.
Yeah, man.
I am.
I
too.
don't like this. I'm sorry, but I don't like it because I can't see what I'm
Alisha,
doing.
are you skim or are you not skim?
At first I would self-level,
Okay.
but then I actually did my dad's house, so I found it did crack. So I had to remove it all and then do
The
it. a
self
different-
leveler did.
Yes.
So was it the wrong?
It probably was. Yeah, I can't recall which brand I used. It was
Don't say it.
Yeah, I won't say it. Yeah.
Say it off the mic or just say it now.
Yeah, no.
Okay, all right. Nobody heard that. All right, that's fine.
Yeah.
No, okay, yeah, sorry. So you do that. So I agree with you. I'm on the same page where it's, especially if it's an intricate pattern,
Yes.
right?
Oh yeah.
And I still am a fan of mosaics on the floor and doing intricate patterns. And I don't want it to look like it's Greek or anything like that. It's just like, it's fine. It works. But I like challenges, right? But then you can't do that if you're embedding at the same time.
No.
It's impossible. Large format is a different story, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So
Well, the only other option actually would be you'd have to template the whole floor.
which, if
not
the
gonna
budget's there and you can do
No,
that.
I mean, like with a template is even sometimes for shower floors, depending on what you're doing, you get masonite board, cut it down to 2 inches. I know
it's
more
a great
time.
idea.
It's a great idea. It
Yeah.
works.
Easy
It works like a
work,
dream, but it's
Yeah.
just so much more time you're adding.
Yeah.
That's
I'd love to talk a lot about safety, because obviously it's funny that you guys don't get as much focus on silica airborne, right? As much as the concrete's been pushing it now, the concrete industry has been doing it. But then how many guys, I'm sure your dad knows about this way back when it was smoking a cigar and having a beer and then cutting concrete, right? That was just the norm. But you guys are constantly...
or doing epoxy grout
It's
without
just
gloves.
it's just one cut. You're grabbing the grinder for 1 second. You're doing a wet saw and there's no water in the tray for one cut. Like, it's just all this stuff. How are you guys educating your younger trades, or how are you guys educating yourselves regarding all that? Because there's a lot of safety attached to tile installing.
A mask, yeah, it's important. It is. You should be wearing like the cartridge masks, not a
do?
regular
Yeah.
one. I do. Well,
How many guys know to keep that mask in a Ziploc bag?
you should. I do. I'm going to be honest. I don't sometimes, and then you have to change the
No, someone
cartridge
had
all
to
the
teach
time.
me that. Like, it made sense because
I didn't even know that.
the mask is always working when
Yeah.
it's not in a
Yeah.
bag.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's always,
Oh,
so the
yeah.
cartridges need to be replaced faster. So if you keep it in a Ziploc bag,
It lasts
A lot
longer.
less particles go through it and stuff, so the
Yes.
cartridge filter lasts longer.
yes,
Yeah.
right. And then goggles, find a nice pair of goggles that work for you to the point where
You know what? I haven't found a pair of glasses that
Me
actually
neither.
don't get scratched. Don't get. I haven't
No,
found
Yeah.
one.
But you just buy a box.
Yeah, the
And
regular
you're good to go
ones.
for a long time.
Yeah.
See, a
Like,
lot
I
of
mean-
these, sorry. I was
Go
going to say, a
ahead.
lot of these products, they're made for men too. So I find like glasses, they'll be too big. And then there's like a little gap
True.
underneath, or like
It's
knee
true.
pads, they're slipping down my legs, or the, sometimes the straps, I have to actually tie them because there's not enough of the Velcro
Oh, wow.
on the strap.
So you can actually, depending on the knee pads you're buying,
Yeah.
you can contact the rep from that manufacturer,
Okay.
and they actually might be able to help you out with those straps.
Oh, okay. Like replacing them
You
or
can even,
kind of.
you know what? There's even another one that they custom make your knee
Yeah.
pads.
Yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah.
So it costs a little bit, but
Yeah.
trust me,
Probably
They're
worth
worth
it.
it.
They're worth it,
Your
yeah.
back will love you.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah,
Take it from me
Knees.
with my
yeah,
back.
especially
Yeah.
this, yeah.
I'm going to take notes.
So the one thing I do want to bring up is that hopefully everybody's doing hearing protection.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%.
And I wouldn't recommend just the foam.
No,
Well,
the
that's
Put
good.
on
over
the
the
cans,
ears are where
right?
it's
Put on the
at.
cans, right?
yeah, but that takes too
I
much
hardly wear hearing
No.
protection. I know I should. My old man and grandfather uncle used to always yell
You'll
at me
get
for it.
tinnitus, man. I got that right now.
time. Yeah,
Do
my
you know what the-
father-in-law
my-
has that.
Yeah.
You know what that is?
Ringing of the,
The
ear.
ringing, yeah.
I get that
Constant.
sometimes, but the thing was, I've always been fearful with the hearing protection on, the muffs. If
Why?
something happens while I'm working, I can't hear
What's gonna happen?
something fall, something. I've always had that in the back of my head. They're doing something near me, working. I'm
Well,
not going to be able to.
I think it's just a matter of getting used to where you put them on when you're operating the tools.
Yeah.
And then you just
Take
put them
'em
on
off.
your head like you're Princess Leia.
Yeah.
You know,
Great gazoo.
while you're not using
The great gazoo.
Yeah, that kind of. I think
Yeah.
as long as they're on your head somewhere, then it kind of makes sense.
I gotta
I leave
start
my
learning to
glasses
do
on
that.
my head all the time, so they're always there, and I put them on because I had eye surgery done a long time ago. I got laser done. So after you invest all that money in your eyes,
You
you
realize
want
how
to
valuable,
protect them
eh?
a little bit. So so I always
Forget about
put
the
glasses.
part that you're born with two of them, right? That work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's not until you spend some money on some surgery on it. Right? Yeah. But
So
yeah, I think it's
I'm always with the hearing protection, even if it takes you an extra 2 seconds to put it down. You know, like I've learned the hard way that you can't rush the job, and that means putting your protection on because it takes me 3 times longer if I get something in my eye and I gotta go, Dad, help me, and I'm looking around for a bucket of water that's not clean, and I gotta try and clean my face. So whatever it is, have a sponge nearby, collect the dust, you know.
And have a safety kit always with you.
Yeah.
That's important.
Because you're dealing with air. You guys are creating the airborne particles, right?
Particles, yeah.
So and it's always safe. Like I've learned that too. It's like sometimes your shirt gets dirty and you just use your shirt.
I
to
never
wipe your
used to-
glasses, which is
Yeah.
not the smart thing to do.
I've never used to wear a mask before, and I learned the hard way from that.
No, you can't. Like
Oh,
the
yeah.
No,
mask
no,
is
I'll explain, and
mandatory.
anybody that's listening, you should wear a mask, the cartridge when you're
All the
cutting. And I always
PPE,
do
right?
now. You can
Yeah,
ask
they're all
Dom. I have
PPE.
started to wear it all the time now, but before cutting the man-made stuff
Yeah.
with the like quartz, Caesar
Oh,
stone, and
that's
everything,
really bad for you.
I started getting nosebleeds.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
once I started getting nosebleeds,
You know.
Well, then something's going on.
Well, it's really dry. In
I learned the hard
area.
way.
Yeah.
Trust me, I learned the hard way. It's my fault. I learned
I think
the
it's
hard
really
way.
simple. It's like if you get to lunch and you're blowing your nose and it's not transparent looking.
It's gray. Yeah, dark gray. Yeah.
Yeah, if it's,
Yeah.
if it's any color,
Yeah.
then it's like
Something's wrong.
Yeah.
something. Going
And from
on.
that day forward, I started wearing masks all the
Yeah,
time.
so we definitely encourage this. Like, don't do what we used to do. Do what you
And
should
use
be
a vacuum.
doing.
Do you know?
Vacuums are
But
big.
do you know why I was like
Yeah.
this? Because my grandfather and uncle, they used to be like that. They
Well,
used
I
to
remember-
grout with epoxy without latex.
My
Their
father
hands would be
used to
swollen by the end of the day.
grind cement with no mask. We would walk in. We were doing a no frills. He was grinding, and you couldn't even see it. And I was like, "Put a mask on." No, I don't have to eat dinner. I was like, "What are you doing?"
I don't have to eat.
Yeah, I don't have to eat. I'm eating dust. It's just the mentality is like.
Yeah.
But it's crazy how some of them, like a grandfather, lived to be 85, smoked 2 packs a day, never wore a mask, never
he's
did this.
lucky. It's
crazy.
And I
Yeah.
was telling you that too about the
Far and few,
smoking and
far and
everything.
few at
Yeah.
that point, right? So, this podcast episode has been sponsored by Klassen Bronze Limited, authorized Canadian and U.S. wholesale distributor of Peygran heavy-duty, high-performance tile leveling systems and installation tools. Choosing to buy outstanding and beautiful tiles also requires buying an exceptional tile leveling system. For hassle-free installation and an exceptional leveled finish, choose Peygran. Imitated, never duplicated. Available at Amazon, select ProSol stores, and purchased at www.tilelevelingsystems.shop. You can also find Peygran on social at Tile Leveling Systems and their website, www.peygran.com. I wanted to get into suppliers. I wanted to talk about your relationships with the suppliers.
Very important.
Very important. Yeah.
How do you guys covet that relationship?
With positivity and honesty.
Yeah.
You know, tell
What
them
do
what
you
you
guys
like, tell them what you
expect?
don't like.
Support.
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 Oh,
So
yeah.
if there's a
Yeah.
problem, you guys want them to be
Yes.
Oh,
there
yeah.
to kind of help you with that
Support,
problem.
knowledge,
They gotta be on speed dial.
education,
Exactly.
all that's very important because that's the only way we're going to progress, right? New products, we need somebody.
You
that-
want them to give you some insight into
Of course.
what's coming down the pipe or what's been changed.
Yeah,
or,
Also, pricing does matter too, to a certain extent.
but that's
pricing is-
a supplier relationship, right?
Exactly. But
Yeah.
certain suppliers, even if they're selling some different types of materials, I don't know if you've seen this, they'll give the same price across the board, even it doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah, I've had a gripe about that since
I
day
don't
one.
like that. If I'm going to support
you're a
your
professional
company,
you should be treated as a professional.
but if you're going to support, let's say, an individual,
yeah,
I deserve to have that little bit of recourse after where you'll support me. Otherwise, if you're going to give me the same as everyone else, why should I come to you? I can pick and choose now.
so do you guys have that conversation with your suppliers?
Yes.
You talk to them all the time. You're letting
Well,
them
I
know
do at
about
least.
that.
I do.
Do you guys, Steven?
I've never had that conversation, but like, you know, you go to certain ones and you have your customers going in there to pick up stuff and it's, they're not going to get the same price as you. You're buying from them every day. You know, you're sweet talking them a little bit. I even bring like donuts and stuff to some of my guys just to show them how much I appreciate them. Like, you know, I have a text where I can text them immediately, not go through the whole head office thing, send it down the chain, which location, this and that. I want that immediate response. And so, you know, it goes both ways.
Good gestures go a long way.
Yeah, you gotta show
you guys
that
are getting the
face.
same thing. You guys getting slightly
Oh, I've
professional
had that
treatment.
for years.
Yeah.
I've had that for years. Yeah, and that's and it's beneficial. It also it helps us, and we can get things done faster and more efficiently. So that it always helps.
With tile, yes. More with like material, I haven't developed a relationship with anyone specific yet. Because I was kind of trying out different products and different companies and just seeing what I like. So, yeah, I'm at the point where I've chosen one, and now I'm going to kind of develop a
And
deeper
start building that
relationship.
with them, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
important to do.
Yeah.
You got to
It's
start
very
early.
important to do.
Are
Yeah.
they looking at it more like for you guys? Is this person going to last? Are they going to be hanging around for a while? Like, are they looking at you
Probably,
thinking
yeah.
you've been in
Probably.
business for years, but are you going to be here for 13 years? Right?
Yeah.
Like, is
Yeah,
that what it
I
is?
understand what you're saying.
But they shouldn't be, shouldn't they? Like, they should treated-
that's part of it too. You know, they look at the people who are coming into the trades and they want to entice people to keep coming and staying in the trades, right? Because there's so many times when so many people around my age that just want to go somewhere else and do something else, and it's a lot of work and it's a lot of thinking you got to do every day, you know, to stay in this trade, to be able to deal with people like us, control freaks, you know, like we're all a little bit crazy and dramatic in our own way. You know, I feel bad for all the employees we've had that came and gone, but you know, the ones who stay and stick through it, they learn a lot of valuable skills just like I did. And, you know, that's something you got to show to your reps, to your suppliers, that you want to be in this for long term, no matter how crazy you are. Like, this is the way life is. Tiles are crazy to install. They're not easy.
No, it's
all a
not
bunch
fun.
of craziness.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's a very challenging trade, right?
Yeah.
So
But it's fulfilling.
I want to get into, and you guys share all of your arsenal of tools here. I want to figure out who's using what and what's going on. Is there like going to be a fight breakout or what's going on there? So
no fight.
I guess knee pad. Let's like knee pad wise, trowel wise, mixer wise, saw wise, snapper wise, everything wise. What do you guys just blurt it out?
Blurred out.
So Sigma's a good brand that I like, and Montolit for the
those
snap
are the two
cutter.
my
Both,
favorite.
yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Is there
So
one
you
you guys
guys buy them
prefer?
Sorry?
Sorry, I was wondering if there's one you guys prefer or
I
both.
like the Sigma better. Yeah, I've got two of
Why?
those.
You just
I
used to it.
can't. Yeah, I can't explain why. Because
Cutting
I have
down instead
I
of
have
cutting
one,
up.
but my 5 foot Sigma is a push.
Oh, okay.
once
So
you
it's
have-
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
different, you know. But
Yeah.
I like them both. I like the Sigma better though. It's kind of newer to me. I started with the Montolit, so
I'm a Montolit guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just like the fact that I can see the mark better with the blade on the Montolit. The Sigma's a lot less visible, and you're always having to like bend a certain way just to see your mark. I like the push factor to it too.
Alisha?
I can't decide. I think I like Montolit better. I started with Sigma too. So I have a 24 or 26 inch Sigma and then 50, what is it? It's for like 2x4 tiles for the Montolit.
That's the Master Puma.
Yes.
That's good.
yes.
49 inch. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a really great, it like clean cut. And I like pushing better than, like even with my Sigma, I still push even though you're supposed to pull.
You turn it around.
Yeah, I make it work. I don't know
Doesn't
why.
that remind you of someone? Bob?
Yeah.
I find it works
As long as
better.
it snaps, that's all
It works
Yeah.
better for me, so.
Well, I when I started, I was only using Sigma. So I started using Sigma religiously, and I had every size known to man of Sigma. And then
6 footer.
no, I don't go.
Yeah,
that long.
I got the 6 foot Sigma.
So I don't do no.
it's a
Okay,
beast.
so I have a 4 foot Sigma, and I've used JP's Montolit. Listen, the Montolit's beautiful. I love the Montolit. The Sigma works, so it doesn't matter as long as it cuts. But in my opinion, when cutting a large tile, which costs so much money, get a wet saw. So I bought one. I bought the Batipe, right? I bought
Batipe, yeah.
I bought that as a wet saw, and I love it. It's fantastic.
How big is that one?
It's a 49 or 50.
But they make a lot bigger.
Yeah, they have a whole bunch of sizes, but I got the one for 4 feet, and I love it. I use it because some tiles, even with a tile cutter, would veer off the cut. So you'd snap and it would turn. And I hated that because, again, with limited amount of tiles to do a bathroom, you can't make any mistakes.
No.
So cut it once and you're done. You put it up. So that was my thing. So that, for me, whatever works.
Are you guys a better installer with the Peygran clips?
100%.
100%. Yeah.
It's a great system.
It just
Yeah.
works for you?
Yeah.
For what reasons?
I've done a job where the clients had to go on vacation, and I left those clips up there in the ceiling for a month. And
Oh, I remember you. Yeah.
that was years ago. And pull them out, no problem. Like
I'll
the
beat
nylon
you.
coating, it's amazing.
Listen
I'll
to
beat
this
you.
one.
So I did a condo downtown, and I installed wall tile, very nice wall tile, gold plated wall tiles, whatever. And I have a video on my Instagram. I installed them. I forgot to remove them. We were waiting for doors, and because Russia was in war, we couldn't get these doors. So we were off site.
We go from clips to war.
Yeah. We went
And you
off
started
site.
with you're going to beat him.
I'm gonna beat his time. So I was off the job over a year.
No.
Yeah.
I came back.
Really?
I have a
Yeah, no,
video.
yeah.
I came back. I looked over him like,
And they came out the same way?
I go,
broke
look, there's still
underneath.
clips. I
Clean.
pulled them off clean, right from the bottom. So when when we used to do dealerships, okay, I'll just give you an example. We used to use another brand. I'm not going to mention the other brand.
I thought in commercial applications there wasn't really a budget all that often to go that route, and it
Yes,
was more
there is.
about.
You put it in the budget.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Okay.
I just assumed.
So we were putting this down, and every morning we'd have to go remove these clips, and I'd have to hire one of my guys for an hour and a half to 3 hours cleaning plastic in between tiles, chipping tiles, breaking blades, which I had to supply. So time, money. So that's a big thing. And I had to squeeze the trigger or else they would snap. So you'd have to have that magic touch. Now, with Peygran, you can get a guy, I don't care who you are, you're just your first year, squeeze as much as you want. The thing doesn't break.
off.
It doesn't break.
So it's interesting that the three of you guys grew into the clips.
yes.
But you started with
Started
the
with
clips.
it. Well, in Union, not as much because the tiles were much smaller.
Yeah. But when you eventually
so-
got to a point where you're doing other jobs,
Yeah, custom work
you
always.
started from that point.
Yeah.
How was the transition from you guys to go from feeling the force to
But you still,
using
you
Peygran
still
clips?
somewhat have that touch and feel. The clip.
Well, that's what I'm trying to
Like,
get
you're
that to.
putting down
because
the
I think
tile.
some tile installers rely too much
100%,
Yeah.
100%.
on that when it should be a collaborative effort.
Yes, exactly what you
Right?
just
Because like Dom, me, and even yourself, Steve, we didn't just start with clips.
No, you guys.
So
Freehand.
even if we're putting it down, I guarantee you, Steve, and say the same thing. You're not just putting it down and clipping. Sometimes you will check. you
No,
will do
you
certain things that
gotta
you're
feel
used
the
to.
force.
It
Yeah, I
comes
know.
back to you. It's just natural, right? And then you get it, and it's already perfect with your hand, and you're like, oh, okay. It happens sometimes, right? But it's still got to be there, that natural habitat. The clip is just adjust. It's a tweaking system. It's a phenomenal system.
Yes.
Right? Tiles that are bowed, for example, you're doing certain offsets, right? I'm sorry, I don't care how good you are. You're not going to get it perfect by hand when certain pieces.
No.
Especially those slabs. Like,
Yes.
'Cause they
you will
warp.
be cursing yourself if you're trying to get your vibrator on there and just continuously
can't.
go over it. It's a nightmare. Your substrate has to be 100%. You have to make sure the cement is spread 100%. Everything's
can't
got to be
take those tiles off and
consistent.
check 'em.
Yeah, you're not going to do
Do you
that.
guys fight it, or do you guys try to make it look as seamless as possible?
Fight it as in
Like you don't like a lot of those tiles, larger tiles, and if you're doing a staggered pattern and you've got a slight crest on it, you can't really fight that, right?
you try the best you,
You
can.
try
Yeah,
to
I
get
mean,
it. Yeah, it's a
sometimes those
balancing
clearance
act, right?
tiles, you got to fight them a little bit.
And this is going back also to the manufacturers that even some of the edges I've noticed on the 2x4s, not in the middle of the tile, but on the edge, it starts to veer. And you're like, the rest of the tile's perfect. The other side's perfect.
I know.
And you're like,
I've been
the
there
heck's
too.
going on
You
here?
know, where's the rabbit?
that's where
where's
the clips
hat?
come
I don't
in.
How do
understand
you
what's going
fix
on here.
this?
I
It's
know.
like, okay, let me get my tile bender and
Yeah.
try to push that. It doesn't work that way.
clip
Yeah.
system manipulates the tile,
Yeah.
and that what assists us to make a perfect floor, more perfect floor. You're never going to have 100% perfect floor. I'm sorry, it's never going to be 100%. There's always going to be that one little corner or that one little spot, but it acts as a 95% beautiful floor. I think that's what I would give, a 95%. A clip system, a good clip system. And the good thing about Peygran also is that after you leave, even if you put a clip system down and you leave it, and the day after, I remember with other clip systems, nobody could walk on it because if you touch it, the clip would break and the plastic would stay inside. So now with Peygran, let's just say, I'll lay a floor, I can leave for 3 days, and the electrician or the plumber has to walk in the
walk on
bathroom. I've had guys roll over it with dollies. The thing doesn't break.
Yeah, I actually work on mine
Yeah.
for the next day because I like to leave it in for like the full 24 hours.
And then remove it,
especially
yeah.
if I'm like have all three of us working in that area for the day. Like we do the floor and then you're doing the walls. Like that's a lot of weight on there. You know, your cement has been dried for 8 to 12 hours. You know, you want it to cure properly. And yeah, we're stepping on them, crunching them.
It won't
and
break.
I've
It
never
won't-
had
yeah.
a single issue.
Yeah.
So how
It
important
really is the strongest
all
clip.
the maintenance and keeping clean? Because I could tell if you're a good tile setter if you keep things clean.
So let's
And when I
Clean,
say
clean is
zing-
always important, but let's just say, for example, you're putting in a clip, you're using like 254 platinum.
Which
which
is some
is
strong stuff, man.
Like that stuff is like
The strongest.
your last resort tensor that you want to use, right? But let's say it gets all over the clip, which I did a test once. I buried the entire clip, the wedge and everything,
On
just one, not
purpose?
the whole thing, on purpose.
Okay.
Just to do a test, and I used 7 different systems, and I left them in for 2 weeks. Peygran still broke clean.
Really?
The other
yeah?
5 broke above the tile,
Yeah.
and those are mainstream 5 systems,
Yeah.
mainstream ones. So I mean, it's like, even if, for example, Peygran, I think also for Union, for example, if they got big companies that purchase their clips, Union, not a lot of the guys are the cleanest. They're a little bit dirty, right? You have so many people walking on your Union job. You got hundreds of men sometimes on site.
Yeah.
With that system, you never really have
You
to
don't have
worry.
to worry.
What
They
about the
step
rest
on-
of the arsenal of tools here? I mean, everyone, you guys just let all the offcuts fall into the wet saw, the tray, and just keep on building it up so it's less
Never.
water put in there. You guys like
You know what I like?
always changing
At the end of the
blades or something? Like, I mean, proper
it
proper
super
blades
clean.
for proper stone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like there's
Correct.
there's
Well,
so much in your business that you got to be aware of.
You know
right?
what I think actually is probably, if you have to buy them all, the most expensive thing we got to get? Corbits.
Yeah.
If
Well,
you have
there's
to
a
go
core
pretty quick.
bit that lasts. Like there's
Piranha.
there's expiry forever. No.
Well, but
Core?
they last.
core,
Core
core is a
piranha.
fantastic bit.
How many holes can you get out of it?
I have the same one.
I still have a bit for 2 years now.
Really?
I still have the same
Wow.
one. I bought another one, but it still works.
But
I'm like,
if
"Oh,
the
I'm
thing
not
is, if
gonna
you
use
use water too,
Yeah,
it
it
strengthens
helps.
the life
it
of
makes
the
it
diamond,
last.
right?
Yeah.
and speed.
Yeah.
And speed helps.
Okay, so that's important. So you have to educate yourself again. So a lot of the core bits require to use a variable speed at number 2. So a lot of guys.
Which tile installer doesn't have a variable?
Well, there's some people I know. I'm not going to mention names, but you're not supposed to use high speed because they burn out faster. So and they chip more.
Drilling metal theories.
Well,
Slow it down
slow it down.
instead of oil, water.
And it lasts a lot longer. Cleaner holes, nothing flying in your face, even when you have glasses on.
So how do we educate the team and the younger trades to always maintain everything clean, and
By doing it yourself. Set
you're
the
doing it
example,
over and over,
right?
right?
Yeah, by
You
showing
gotta-
You know what I think? Sorry to interrupt you, Steve, but you know what I think is with being clean is my grandfather, my father, uncle were OCD freaks. Not in a bad way.
No, you
I
had
think
to
having
be.
OCD is a great thing for construction, and for our trade in particular.
Doesn't
I-
the workflow run better
When you're
Way
clean,
better.
and safer? That's a good point.
100%.
and when you're working for certain GCs or people, and they notice how clean you are in their homes and everything, they respect you a
Yes.
lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've never worked on a job site where any other trade besides myself, Dom knows I'm a clean freak. I'll wash the towel 6 times if I see dust on it. I got problems, but
You do.
I'm working
you
on
do.
it.
I'm sorry. I love you, but you
I
do.
can relate.
After-
You're not the only one.
During the install.
Yeah,
right?
it's just
During the install, God, but we're still gonna walk on it. Stop cleaning it.
it's hard to get rid of it.
Buckets
It's
and
hard.
water, clean sponges, clean trowels, clean
Clean
saws,
tools, clean area.
everything.
Okay,
But then
Manny.
you get
But
other
then why is the
trades.
laser always dirty as hell?
Oh, my laser's not dirty. I'm always my laser.
Just the glass portions are all
it's
clean,
dust.
but the actual thing is like it's got like fingerprint marks.
Well,
No,
Don always
that's
says when
yours,
he's
not mine.
when
Yours
Don,
is pristine clean.
Mine's clean. Just
Oh,
the
yeah.
glass gets dusty. You spend all this money on lasers, you're gonna go.
I think the one thing that gets dirty is probably the levels.
The levels
yes.
go-
I
his
keep
levels-
my levels
His
super
levels are
clean.
immaculate.
I get the no handles there, just a
Yes.
solid piece
Yes.
of plastic. That one,
Yeah, it's the
easiest
best
to clean. I've had some of mine for 5 years now, and
You don't need to change them.
nope,
No.
I'm not going
Unless
to.
you just
I use
can't.
them for screeding the walls still.
Wow.
Do you guys want to
yeah.
share a bunch of tile techniques, little tips and tricks that you guys can share to the audience that makes you guys a little unique? What you've learned over time. Me personally, I've come across some large tiles that had a slight bow to it, and I had to go to the car to get the jack.
The support rods.
Support rods.
You got to get your
support rods
support.
were
Well, I'm not
great.
talking about the little clippy ones. I had to get the jack, and I had to get the jack and a piece of 2x4 against the joist because I was just like, this is just ridiculous.
Well, the 2x4.
You put it up against another tile and you put face to face, and all of a sudden you're seeing a C and a D. Like it's just like it's bad.
Well, the 2x4 actually helps sometimes because if you do put, which I've done
There's
myself,
there's a
I
little
put too much pressure on a tile and you crack
Yeah,
it.
yeah, I know. So
I've
there,
done
are
that,
there
I'm
any
not gonna
tricks
lie.
that Alicia, have you
It's
learned
happened.
anything like little tips that you've been taught or you've come across?
Yeah, definitely. Like the first one that comes to mind is probably when doing ceilings, because obviously it's much harder to do a ceiling than a floor. But having poles and then some 2x4s just to help support it all, as opposed to one tile at a time. You can kind of leave it up and do a
Even
row
it
at a
out.
time and have something always
So you're not
supporting
supposed to
it.
just spot bond it and just throw it up?
You're fired.
One of us had to say spot bond on this show.
No,
Yeah.
no, that's
No, that's a
swearing.
bad word these days.
Spot bond.
Yeah.
yeah, just have to wear a hard hat when you take a shower.
Yes.
And you get a lot of rent-free critters that live in there.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Any cool tricks? Because I'm a huge fan of all the mitering that's going on, right? I do, and I do respect like really good looking mitering. I'm not a fan of the edging anymore. I've lost interest. It's gone the way of glass block for me. Tile edge.
Well, you know what? It,
Sorry.
it
It
depends
has.
on
Depends on
certain
your-
things.
yeah.
Some tiles, now if you get handmade tiles and they want you to miter it,
You got a point. You got a good
About that
point. But if you, I've seen some
Some
tiles
of
that
them
you
look
didn't think
nice.
that you could
Some.
miter, and you'd miter them, and they kind of look beautiful. They just wrap around nicely. More effort, more work. Hopefully, you're
of
charging
course, yeah,
accordingly, right?
mitering is awesome.
But I
It's
just want to hear from you guys about some tips and tricks and other things that you guys.
a good grinder blade.
Good, yeah.
Very
What
good.
is the good grinder?
Even better, a scoring blade like a Sigma or Montelic. Because if
Well,
you
you
want
got to
that
keep it up.
wrap,
You got to change it,
you
right?
need it to be perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, when you're doing slabs, you mean?
Or even, any
Well,
kind
even
of tile.
24 by
Yeah.
48, it doesn't matter.
Like if you want that perfect vein match, that wrap to keep going around, like you're doing a fireplace, 10, 12 foot ceilings, like those need to be within half a millimeter. You need it to be really precise.
Manufacturers still talking to you guys about fireplace and heat shock,
well,
stress
actually,
shocks or whatever. What are they called? Fractures.
fractures,
Fractures,
yeah.
yeah.
Well,
You know what we're talking about, right?
yeah. For
Okay.
well, the fractures usually happen if they're going to happen on horseshoe cuts or L cuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
where the fractures happen.
Yeah.
Now you should be coring the inside corner.
Yes.
Should be radius.
Radius.
Yes.
Everybody been on a plane? There's a reason there's a radius on windows.
right?
Just saying.
But sometimes fireplace, I know certain things with slabs, for example, porcelain panels. If that heat is getting, if it's too much heat being produced off there, even if you cored it and you did things properly,
Yeah,
you
we-
can still get a hairline fracture in it.
Yeah.
And it's not your, sometimes it's not the installer's fault.
It's got
If you've
nothing
done
to do
it
with the
properly, what
installation.
you have to do,
It's
it's
got
not the
nothing to do.
installation.
It's just the tile itself.
tile itself,
and it's
and then
the
there's too much
temperature
heat.
from one side to the other.
There's
That's
a
all it is.
fireplace I was supposed to do. Now we have to wait. They have to replace the entire unit. It's producing too much heat. We put the cement board on, and with big tiles, I even put the mesh with 254 platinum. They turned on the fireplace to test it, of course. We have the flute, airflow, everything. Every seam opened up.
Oh.
Every seam. And it's mesh taped with a very good thin set, everything done, screwed, everything properly.
It's expansion and contraction. It's just
No, but not when every seam opens up. This is the fireplace. It's the manufacturer of the fireplace is producing too much heat. And we're supposed to put slabs on there. And I says, yeah,
No,
no,
you
slabs
can't.
aren't going on there until this is rectified. We're
Yeah.
not going to put anything on here. I think the fireplace units, if it is producing too much heat and your air, depending on where the flute is, if it's on top, the sides, depending on where it's going, because it's got to be going like this, right? Right? That makes a big difference. If the
Well,
airflow is great
You'd
in
have
there,
to get your clients or the designer to look at
Specs.
the specs of the actual fireplace
Unit.
because you got to see if heat is being transferred properly, movement, because that's how a fireplace works, right?
that's right.
But if it's being tunneled like the back of a pickup truck when you leave the tailgate on or whatever, if it's tunneled inside there, then you're just consuming heat and you're building up heat, and then that's transferring right to the stone. Which
Yeah.
and you guys get the first phone call. Your install failed.
my
yeah,
fault.
exactly.
Which is incorrect.
Which
and
is
then you got to
incorrect.
explain to them, let's go back to science class here. We're going to sit down and we're going to talk about science now, right? But you guys, Alisha shared, you guys don't want to share anything? No little tips?
Actually, so Prova board is has a heat resistance in it and a vapor barrier, the 9 yards, and you can get it in the 4x8. So putting up less joints on there can be really helpful too.
I didn't realize that. Okay. It's good to know.
it's still not 100% through certain specs. You shouldn't be using anything, even though Prova or even Weedy, anything like that. It is have some cementatious.
yeah, and that's
things
what's
to it.
probably
But
helping
you
it
still-
with the heat, right?
Yeah, but you can't. You still shouldn't be using it on a fireplace. You still should be using cement board
Yeah,
as
it's
per
safe.
NT
Right.
as
Yeah,
per-
They recommend
as-
it. It is
Yeah?
safe. Yeah.
through the NTCA. So if something really, sorry to interrupt, Steve, but if something really was to happen that is costly through NTCA standards, no, you can't use it on there.
Yeah,
It'll
that's
be
what
your
I mean.
fault.
Is that it's when
You wanna
there's a
follow the
fault,
specs
those
to the
standards
T?
come into play, right?
No. Yeah.
You guys, I personally will say it, but I don't think you guys are paid enough. I think the square
it's true.
footage, hourly, scope, fixed price, whatever you want to say.
Doesn't matter how much you charge and you think you charge more on a job, it's never enough.
And then they cry. Why are you so expensive? Why is so much
How much
money?
more should it be? Like percentage
You
wise?
can't,
It
yeah,
can't,
but you
because
can't give a price.
every
'cause
job
Every
is
job is
different.
different.
Yeah.
Right? So what okay,
can't.
well, we know you're underpaid. We just know that.
100%. In my opinion, at least. I think so.
Is it a combination because the materials are getting expensive, the
It-
tiles are getting expensive, the clients and designers have spent too much money on the tile itself that came from halfway around the world,
Yeah.
and now they want the cheapest install price?
It also
Well,
depends
they
on the
they
client.
want the Ferrari install for the
Yeah.
Toyota
Yeah.
price.
Yeah.
Yeah,
of
that's
course.
exactly
That's what it
it.
is.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
they want the Ferrari install for a fraction
And
of
I
what
tell
it should
my
be.
clients, like sometimes
sure.
you can't win everything. You can maybe go a little bit further, but you can't win them all. And I say, okay, well, you know what? It is what it is. I'm just letting you know that, you're paying this much for tile, but you're concerned about my price. Okay, so now if you hire someone that's cheaper, something happens, you got to go buy more tile. You're spending more money. It's costing you more money. It's costing you more time.
So you guys had that conversation?
You have to.
You have to.
You got to explain to them, right?
Yeah.
So now
I
they,
mean,
go,
not
they
to
get
everybody.
into economics class, right?
Some people
And we start
understand
explaining
that.
things to
Well,
them.
GCs you constantly work for, that's
Yeah.
different. But
They
someone new
understand.
that you don't know,
Yeah, a client, right?
Right.
They just know that. I remember I quoted a job. It was one of the first ones where they had glass with the gold leaf behind it.
Oh yeah,
And
That's
we did
fun.
a test. So we did a test, right? And that was why I was bringing up the glass earlier, where we did a test to cut it, and we're like, yeah, we could pull this off. It's not a problem, right? I was concerned about it because I never did it.
Yeah.
But then we gave the price, and then the client already bought the tile, bought all this product, and they paid a premium. Then I gave a fair price for it after consulting with the tile installer, and they said, no, that's just too much money. We can't do it. So then they ended up arguing with the supplier to return the material because they couldn't install it. And I think that was the best decision because you need to install this correctly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not to put down, let's say, other trades, right? Electrical, plumbing, very important, two trades, right? I tell people like this when they're getting very expensive tile. I say, this isn't, again, not to put down other trades, this isn't a piece of drywall. This isn't paint. This isn't trim that, you can actually fix and change the color of it and do certain things. This is tile.
Yeah.
If something happens, it's thousands to fix. It's not $1, $2 or half a day
And
of
who's
work.
taking down that responsibility?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just are educating them that there's a chance if you go down this way.
Exactly.
There's a chance.
100%.
And why do you want to have that conversation?
But-
Your end game is to install it beautifully.
But the thing is, let's say you're working for a lot of GCs today. Some are great. For the most part, especially the last 3 years, price increases, everything going on. They're bringing down the prices on purpose. They're trying to make more on their back end, right? And I know what goes on that end. I know I might be young, but I'm not naive or stupid. And I say, but you're charging this much for this, and they're paying that. But my price to install $34 a square foot tile is an issue for you. Okay?
Do your clients and designers, do they realize that there is no fixed price when it comes to a material, a tile or stone material?
I don't think so.
The
We educate them on
the
that.
You have
price
to educate them.
fluctuates based on what that tile or stone is.
I love when
correct?
you get that phone call. I have 150 square feet. How much is it to install? No, I got to come and look at it. Why? Because I got to
You
see
feel
what
like
I'm working
you're
with.
trying to let me imagine what it looks like.
Exactly.
So do you guys educate the client at that point, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
You have
I
to,
give
right?
them a certain fixed price for standard tile. I go from
If you're familiar with it.
yeah,
right?
standard ceramic or porcelain 12 by 12 up to 24 by 24 is pretty standard. Like you're not going to get anything too crazy unless it's a natural stone. And I can give them a standard fixed price. Of course, I tell them if it's something crazy and I'm on site, like it's going to go up in price, whether it's smaller tile or bigger tile, it has to
I'm
change.
just going to tell you, don't give any prices over the phone. Always.
Oh, these
go
are to like
with the phone.
contractors
Oh,
that I
okay.
trust and know.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fair.
And
Because
designers,
what
of course.
I always tell it, just go look at it.
Yeah,
Take
you
the
have to
time
go
and-
look and
yeah.
measure and see
Because
it for yourself.
Everything's different. How about if the floor is like? I remember I just did a floor and it's like, oh, we have to install herringbone. I said, how's the floor? Oh, it's pretty good. Then I said, okay,
Is
pretty
it a
good.
homeowner or designer?
No, this is the GC. It's pretty good. I'm like, okay, so I'll call the electrician. I was like, how's the floor? Terrible. So it's like,
See, that goes to the expectations, right? So
Go look at the
you
job.
guys are brought in to make it look perfect, but you're not being given. This podcast episode has been sponsored by Klassen Bronze Limited, authorized Canadian and U.S. wholesale distributor of Peygran heavy-duty, high-performance tile leveling systems and installation tools. Choosing to buy outstanding and beautiful tiles also requires buying an exceptional tile leveling system. For hassle-free installation and an exceptional leveled finish, choose Peygran. Imitated, never duplicated. Available at Amazon, select ProSol stores, and purchased at www.tilelevelingsystems.shop. You can also find Peygran on social at Tile Leveling Systems and their website, www.peygran.com. I want to talk about the difference in quality.
Quality in tile or
Quality in
installations?
installation.
Very-
What's the difference okay, so if you weren't involved with the install,
Okay.
if you weren't involved, you're just a fly coming onto a job site. Let's just stay custom. Let's not do union. And you see something, it's a completed tile job. Where's the quality? What are you seeing?
Layout's one.
yeah, first thing is layout.
Yeah.
That's what's like. I'll notice the layout first.
Yeah.
Everything's got to be centered properly. Your cuts got to be nice.
Grout joints, all the same.
Yeah.
Same
Consistent.
spacing. Yeah,
What if there's
consistency.
challenges? What if the room, the bathroom, laundry, kitchen, whatever
That
it
doesn't
is?
make, no, that
no.
doesn't-
What if the door's not feng shui with the back entrance, or
Or you mean not square with the other
yeah?
walls?
What
and
if the
stuff?
island's in the way? What if the tub's offset? What if there's a nook for? What if, like, where do you guys pick your, like, when you're looking at someone else's work and you're looking at it and you're like going, okay, so that's a
Cuts.
quality job.
Well, the door.
I think but if the door is off, see, here's the thing: if certain things are off, if the cuts are beautiful, no lips, everything looks great, you don't really notice like as much things.
you can't really tell until you look underneath, and that's the scary part. You know what you do is you carry a golf ball,
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
and once you hear hollow,
It's true. That's a good point.
I repaired a floor actually once in Tobico. I did work in their backyard, some mason work on the fireplace, and they said we have a problem with one of our tiles. So I said, yeah, okay, I'll come by and check it out. I've never seen this in person. I've seen it on Instagram and like other things, but I've actually never seen this in person. I lifted up the 24 by 48 piece, and there was cookies underneath. The whole
yeah, that's fantastic.
I've never seen this in person. I've seen
What
it.
kind of cookies?
Cookies.
blobs of cement.
Oh,
Oh, I thought you meant actual like
So
pecans or something like that. Like, what was it, chocolate chip?
this is what I'm imagining.
So get like your
Well, it was like a joke. Someone put cookies
Yeah.
in it.
so get like your Costco size cookies.
Really?
Pucks. They set them
No
down
back
with pucks.
butter.
The spot
No
bonding.
back
Yeah.
butter.
Yeah.
But on the floor on 24 by 40 tile.
Wow.
You would be able to, if you tapped it, you'd
If
be
you
able
But
to.
I didn't.
That's a
You
golf
don't
ball.
initially do that. They just saw the grout, and I'm like, okay. I'm like, do you want me to take
All you
this
really
out?
need to do is get a woman with heels to walk on it,
That too.
That
That
too.
works.
True.
and you would hear it.
But I was like looking, and I was like, and I took it up, and I saw them. I've never seen that. I've seen that like on like other things, but I've never actually seen it in person.
What about grout? What about, like, is grout always perfect, bulletproof?
You try to be as flush as you can, but
What do you mean bulletproof? Like,
Well, this is like sometimes it doesn't work out perfectly. I remember my early days of tiling 15 years ago. Black was never black.
okay, so
It didn't
now,
matter if I used a measuring
color
cup.
consistency,
Color
it's gotten a
consistency,
lot
yeah,
better.
a lot
It
better.
has gotten a lot
Darker
better.
tones has gotten better.
Yeah, it's gotten better. But even with the blacks, though, I gotta say, I don't think it doesn't matter what brand of grout it is. It's still not
not
100%.
true
I'm gonna
true
tell
black.
you, you want true black and true white. Mapei has it.
They have a newer
Is
one.
it the
Yeah,
new?
it's
Yeah.
Or you gotta go with the
I was just
epoxy
about
route.
to
But
say.
Yeah,
no,
it's a
even
new one.
epoxy. Don't even go there because I've
Not
had
the
problems
old-
with epoxy.
I love epoxy.
Epoxy is my favorite. Yes.
You lose about 10 pounds.
Yeah, that's too. Putting it in, installing. Yeah, but Mapei has Max White or Max Black or something like that. I forgot what it's called exactly, and they're beautiful. I've used it in my own house, the black, but you have to wear gloves because the
Yeah.
pigment inside of it
I
is
can't
just.
stand it. It was
Yeah.
weird how I did a job and it was a white. Was it an avalanche or was it I can't-
Avalanche.
Avalanche
white.
is
White
But I
is
had
yellow.
I had such a reaction, right? Which makes me wonder, like, technically we go back to standards and code and PPE. You guys should have gloves on.
Always.
always.
Gloves are
Always
very
with-
important.
I know,
Grouting.
but a lot of people don't put gloves. A lot of tile setters don't put gloves on because they need to feel the force. They need to feel the tile, right? So
Well,
it's,
when you're
and you
grouting,
can.
I'm guilty for
When you're
it.
grouting,
still
you gotta
wear
put
the-
gloves on.
I wear the dishwashing gloves when I'm washing the grouts, and I use a microfiber after, and you can feel everything still.
you're fine, right?
You gotta know how to feel it, what to feel for. and you can do it. So
Yeah, Peygran helps too.
Yeah.
Oh, I had another question here. Sorry. Okay. Now, if you guys, I wanted to ask you guys, I still go on the path of there's no training, no school, no education.
There is.
There is.
The
But
TT Mac is not really like the same way. I'm trying to compare it to other trades. There's no real training school.
There is a school, right? It's actually in Toronto.
But it's an idea.
You don't
of what
have
Well,
to
no.
be
It's an idea,
certified,
but
technically.
they have different courses and everything. Like it's not like, for example, going to electrical school or going.
No, if you go to like a Conestoga school or you go to the actual bricklaying and masonry school,
Yeah, you actually-
there isn't a tile school.
No.
That's what I'm getting at.
there is.
There's training for standards, but there isn't.
No, there is.
Okay, where is it?
It's
They have everything set up. It's a school.
It's
Don't
a
get me
school.
wrong.
What is it?
It's the tile, marble, and granite trade school of
It's from
Ontario.
Local 31.
It's part of Local 31, part of the guild, and they're actually part of the College of
But if
Trades
you're
too.
custom resi and you're in the industry, you don't have access to that.
No, you could.
No, we can do
You
it.
Of
still
course
go
you
there?
can get
Yeah.
access to that. Now, when a lot of people that work in the union, apprentices, you got to go do 3 months here, 3 months there,
Yeah.
do certain things, right? But then it goes back to at the same time we were saying before, where guys are fourth year apprentices and they're still
Grouting.
grouting. But you did the school, you did this.
So my question to you guys was, if you were to start a school,
I would change everything.
Oh, yeah.
I would change the entire industry.
So you just explained to me that there's a school and everything's out there and there's
It's a school,
courses,
but it's not-
you would change everything.
But I would
so
change
what would the
everything.
course be if we were to talk about a school for tile installer, a person that wants to either go from one trade to tiling trade, or a kid who wants to get into the industry? What would
On-site,
year
I would-
one, year two, year three? What would it be like?
I would have courses dedicated to each aspect of the trade
Yeah.
and focus on that part of the trade, then go to the next one. But I would do everything. I wouldn't just be
When
a
you
lead
say
the
the
tile.
products.
of every trade from
No,
construction?
of tiling,
Okay.
because we have multiple variances in our trade. We don't just
Yeah.
focus on one thing.
I know.
Right? But it'd be, for me, dry pack. They need to learn how to do dry pack.
Yes, 100%.
Right? Waterproofing. If I had my own school, I would bring in multiple people from different manufacturers, not be biased towards
But
one.
it would. Yeah, I was just going to say that
Yeah.
it would make sense to, first of all, no more rubber liners.
No,
No.
please, God.
Please, no.
I hate that stuff.
The rubber-
Okay,
you know what the
I know it's an
problem-
American thing, but the thing is that a rubber liner is basically dictated on the fact that you want water to pool underneath the dry pack to stay there. That makes
And
no
here's the
sense
other
to me.
here's the other problem. Like again, we used to, before these products and what I knew, we used to do the dry pack over the rubber liner. I didn't
that's
have
how it
these.
was.
That's how it was,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, but
but
we
the problem
waterproof
with
on
it
top.
now, well, it doesn't matter because a lot of the time, if you're doing it over a rubber liner, I've learned you should not clog the weepholes, and that is probably
That's
one
the
of the
first thing that happens, right?
You should put some peat gravel, something around there.
Yeah.
I didn't know these things years ago
But that's
about
where I
that.
go back to the school. Alicia, have you done dry pack?
Yes.
You've done it, right?
Yeah.
So was it easy for you to grasp it?
I felt like it was fairly easy. Yeah, it was kind of like you just have to be kind of tedious with it.
Yeah.
The touch.
Yeah.
You got to
Yeah.
have that touch.
Yeah, exactly. You can't just kind of pack it in there and then, put a level. It's a little dippy here. Okay, whatever. Like you can't do that. It has to be completely
Listen, if we want to talk
flat.
about dry
Yeah.
pack, we do a whole session just on dry pack.
Go on.
Yeah.
I'm guilty of making dry pack a little wetter because I wasn't in the mood to just.
Yeah, but you can't make it too wet because then you can't.
I know, but it won't slope. So just like
We're not going there.
never failed. All right.
Right? But there's, with the school,
So I want to go by the school. I want to try to figure, and then who's educating you? Who would-
that's the most, I think now in our industry, let's say for reps, no matter what company it is, the TT Mac and everything, 75% or even actually more than that of the individuals that are there trying to teach, let's say me, you go to an event, they've never installed a tile in their life.
makes me nervous.
And I'm like,
I know.
I'm like, okay, you might know, you might know the analytics and certain compounds and compositions of that product because that's
But
what
you
the
need
manual
boots on the
showed you when
ground.
you signed up for that job.
Yeah, you need boots on
But
the
if I
ground.
ask you an actual question of the installation and you call them, well, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to hang up the phone on you. Thanks very much and have a great day. I think that's a big thing that's missing in our industry is people teaching certain things. We need to have guys that actually did the trade. Installers, because if I'm talking to another installer, we're going to have the same conversation. We're going to pick each other's brain the same. And if I'm talking to a rep, I'm just going to look and the words are going to go in one ear and out the other and be like, okay, yeah, thanks,
It's
no
a
problem.
sales pitch. I get it. You guys see the same thing?
Yeah, I mean, I've known a couple of reps who have been in the union tiling, and when they came on site, they showed me part of their craft, and I appreciated every minute of them talking. And it really helped because I've also had sales reps from the same company who I'd ask them a certain question about what they're selling, and it would be technical questions, and they'd be like, oh, I really don't know. And it's like, well, what are you doing here then?
Yeah.
You know?
But the other thing too is also, let's say for our industry of getting new young blood in our industry to grow this industry, because a lot of Italian unions too, they've been dissolved lately. They're losing manpower. Not a lot of people getting in. I think schools, reps, and you need to have incentives for young guys that want to get in this trade. Money is one. The union, they underpay the apprentices big time. They're doing a certain amount of work. They're not getting paid enough.
Which is really weird because the unions are the ones that are getting government subsidies.
Subsidy.
When I think that when it comes to your trade in particular, other trades too, I'm not going to dismiss them.
Yeah.
That those subsidies should be going to the custom resi departments, like the industry, right?
Yes.
Because you guys can take a person who's interested in this trade and really educate them and kind of shape them to where the potential is. But you guys operating a business and still being a teacher, you can't do both without compensation.
Yeah.
Whether it's in the business that you're making money from or from the government subsidizing you to help you shape the next.
Well, that would also fall into the College of Trades.
It works. Yeah, I totally get that. But then you're getting a negative presentation of your trade to the kids. The kids don't look at it like, I don't want to have my hands pruned up, covered up in thin set. I'm dirty and thin set. I'm grouting, I'm grinding, I'm cutting, all that. I don't want to do any of that stuff.
Well, here's the thing. When I first joined the union, right, I was getting $14.80 an hour.
How long ago
Driving
was that?
downtown, it was probably 14 years ago. 14 years ago. But picture this is, imagine you're driving downtown. You don't live close. Right, you got to pay for parking, but then they're going to reimburse you your vehicle, the maintenance on it, the gas you're spending.
Yeah, they were doing kilometers if you go past.
No, not all. Remember how certain companies were dumb.
Well,
This is what I mean by the union and why they've been dissolved.
Well, okay, so
but anyways,
yeah, it's fine.
There
but-
needs to be incentives for people.
So
And I
how do
think-
we get? Because I want to get into the whole future of this industry. Because eventually you guys will. I tell everybody that comes on the show, I'm sorry, there's going to be an end to your beginning. That's just a fact, right? There's nobody's
Father
figured out
time.
that game, right? Whether you're trading, you think you can last forever if you want to be 80 years old and do that,
Father
it's
time
wonderful.
catches up with
but it catches up with you. So then the thing is, like, we need to fill that void, and it's been expressed on this show several times that there's 2/3, almost 3/4 are leaving, and only a quarter are coming in. So there's a huge void, right? And I think that the hardest hit trades are going to be really desperate, and that includes you guys.
And that's why they're outsourcing
So
in
there
other
should be, like,
countries.
schools.
They're bringing
Yeah,
people
other
from
countries.
Yeah.
If you set up schools properly and you have teachers properly, maybe it's older tile installers that, okay, I'm perishable, I'm physically can't do it anymore, but I can educate it, I can share this experience, I can carry the conversation. So you have to have a proper school that we're all on the same page, and it can't be brand driven or anything like that. It has to be unbiased, where
Unbiased,
you're
yeah.
showing a bunch of everything, no glass block and no rubber liners, right? And you explain to these kids, you got to understand this, man. It's really important, right? So that's not there yet. I want it to be there. It's really important that it's there, but that's where you guys come in, and anybody else that you respect contributes to that thought process.
The main reason why I got into the trades, not because of my family, but my father always told me this. He said, John Paul, you need to learn a trade. I don't care what trade it is, but learn it. He's like, there's one thing about trades that separates you from other professions. Only God can take it away from you.
Yeah.
He said, learn a trade, do whatever you can. And
that's deep.
it's true.
I know, but
Father
it's deep.
time, right? It catches up with you.
Yeah.
So he says, you want to do something where you're just doing the same repetitive thing every day for the rest of your life. He says that doesn't give you any satisfaction. That's no problem if you're happy. He says, but you want to do something that you want to be an artist. Like he had this talk with me.
Oh, I
right?
still think tile setters are artisans. I still
Yeah.
look at it that way. There's a potential to be that
Yeah.
in this industry.
Like our thing is, and I'm pretty sure when you're finished a custom bathroom, you tell the miters, I look back, take your socks off, make sure your shoes are off, right? Check if there's any little bit of dust in the floor. You want to clean it first because of my OCD. And then you're looking like, man, this came out nice. That satisfaction it
feeling.
gives you, that feeling it gives you, I don't get that feeling anywhere else.
So I actually know a
Yeah.
couple of guys who went to Humber College and did the whole construction course, roofing, flooring. It was like a 1-day thing or 1 hour, and
1 hour?
it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
He's not kidding. I
like
know.
a 12 by
it's true.
12. They give you a little square that's smaller than this table, and they say do it, see how good you do it, and then that's it. But if they start to show the different types of tiles, more intricate patterns and things, like that's going to catch one or two eyes' attention at least. And maybe giving them something like a golden trowel or something. Maybe not golden, but, little tools that you can buy for cheap that will drive that incentive forward. Because, everyone has a hammer. Everyone has a crowbar. But if you give them something unique, it can spark some interest in younger guys. I mean, I know when I got tools from my grandfather, that sparked my interest, and my dad,
Yeah. There's actually a program, and I think they're training people in doing siding. And then the reward at the end of the program is like it's some kind of, I'm not sure what they use exactly, but it's a machine, and it costs like $5,000 or something like that.
Wow.
And they offer
that's
that.
Nice.
That's
Yeah,
nice.
so that is
See,
incentive.
That will
makes
drive
sense
them.
because now you're going to get people interested in getting in that trade, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying is that we haven't even finished the school yet. Like we're not even at recess yet. It's just I'm trying to figure out what else you would be teaching. We know that we need people that were in the industry teaching it, not sales reps teaching it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what else are they going to be taught? They're going to be taught different materials, different applications.
They could be taught how to put the ARIA vents in, how to connect the plumbing, because we do more than just tile.
Yeah.
We do electrical,
Everything.
plumbing, HVAC. I can't tell you how many times I've had to cut the floor just to get that ARIA vent to fit in. And it's tough, but you need to have some little bit of knowledge of everything. And you're kind of like a GC, you feel like, but you're not.
Well, to JP's point about the beginning of the class, I think the first semester or whatever should be an overview, I think, of all the trades. So then you are part of the team at that point, right?
Yeah.
So you get a grasp of it. I'm not saying that you're going to take over their
everything.
trades, but
Well, yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah,
we
it's a little bit of
literally do
everything.
everything.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
do. We touch
I
everything.
patch up drywall. I
It's like
rectify
the
framing.
plumbers, for example. I always tell them leave the pipe about 6-7 inches out the floor. I'm going to
Yeah.
install it.
And
Yeah.
don't glue
And
it.
what do you?
Don't
they go.
glue it.
They go. What do you mean? And this and that. Oh, you're not a plumber. And I said, do you know how to install the Schluter drains?
I've never had
Like-
that. They always just
No,
walk
no, but
away.
like-
I don't even have a chance to explain to
But
them.
there's
I'll
some
do it.
plumbers-
Oh, you make sure you catch them right away, man.
They
They
just
do,
walk away.
especially the linear drains. And I said to them,
Oh, yeah.
right? But some plumbers, when they see them, they go, "Oh, you're gonna do awesome. Thanks,
That's
man."
exactly.
And they bring a coffee and donuts the next morning. Like, thanks.
Hopefully it doesn't leak. Don't
Yeah.
worry, it won't leak.
It won't.
But the
That's-
biggest thing
yeah.
too is that they don't take these training courses provided by these companies to install that drain connection properly.
Yeah.
And we do.
I don't think you want those rooms with plumbers in there.
No.
And now you're getting niches with lights going on in there, and now
Oh,
you're
yeah,
gonna get
that's
electricians
beautiful.
going in here now.
Yeah.
So it's a different thing. But you guys think machines will ever take over your skill set?
No.
No.
They could.
Commercial,
No.
They
open
could.
areas,
That's
yes.
why I asked the question.
There
They
are
have a-
machines.
they
I've
have a
seen
machine.
robots
They have
doing the
them.
tiling.
You have to lay a track down, and then there's
But
a
in the
machine that
custom,
lays
in the
tiles.
custom section, no,
Wow.
Not in custom.
not in custom.
No,
Yeah.
I'm
like
sorry.
they'll never
You
be
can
able
never.
to do
No,
the same
never.
skill that we're at.
No, I agree with you. I think commercial though, large
Commercial.
format and big
In a
open
mall,
areas, and then maybe one junior.
You got to remember they have the machines now in
Yeah, they
Europe
do
and
it,
certain
right?
things
Yeah,
that do
I
it.
know.
You just need a guy to
All you
load
need is
the
a
tile,
guy, yeah.
load the tile and fill the cement.
Well, actually, no. Actually, they
Yeah.
have a machine now that has suction cups attached to it with 3 arms.
Yeah, I've
Picks
seen
up the
that one.
tile, puts it forward. You got to back butter it yourself. So you still need a guy there and puts it right on the wall.
They don't have the machine to back butter yet. They'll trust me. They'll make it.
They'll have, yeah.
Well, they're always coming up with new ideas, new trowels. Like, I mean, what are those trowels called with the S?
The Euro nut.
Euro
or
nut,
something.
yeah,
Euro
Euro
nut,
nut,
is that what
yeah.
it's called? Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it come with the tunes too, or what? Like, what's
Yeah.
going on?
Some-
I don't understand
No.
why they're completely like a little beat or something.
They
Like
say
that.
that
LaBush
when
doesn't like
when
it
you push
either.
it down, it
Collapses.
collapses
collapses,
better.
yeah.
Listen, as
Does
long
it?
as you
It does.
It does.
It
Yeah,
Never
it
used
does.
it.
I've seen it. It does.
Yeah.
Even the
It does.
slanted notch, that those ones work good too.
Yeah, but I still use a traditional. Like I use all Peygran trowels. I
Yeah.
love the Peygran.
Peygran trowels are the only trowels I find never rust, never break down.
You can leave it in a bucket of water.
Marshalltown trowels always rust on
They
you.
always rust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Peygran never.
So now, if you want to change the height of the ridges, you could just angle the trowel.
Yeah, you can, but
Or use a mini grinder and make them bigger. But then,
Finger.
What do you want? You want 3/8? You want a quarter? What do you want?
No, they have different sizes, so you can just buy the trowel that you need, right?
No, I know, but then now you guys have 30 trowels at that point. But then you
Yep.
need
That's
30
okay.
trowels.
You need different trowels, right? You
I was
need
being
different
moderate.
trowels for different applications, right? Different thicknesses of tile, mosaic tiles, right? All
When
that.
I outfitted my van, I put all kinds of stuff in there. I worked everything out, and everybody only cared about how I put my trowels away.
yeah, because it's fun.
And so I built the whole side on the top, on one side completely, because I had 30 plus trowels, right?
Yeah.
And all I did was I put a layer of ply and then 2 side layers, left a gap in the middle wide enough as a regular standard trowel.
Yeah.
So you could put the trowel in there and you turn it, and I left a gap so then they can all just float upside
that's
down.
good.
I saw that when
Yeah.
it was awesome.
But I
Yeah.
do the van, and there's like a million things in that van, and everybody only cared about the trowel. Like, where the trowels were.
Because trowels are
Can you
unique,
get a closer
man.
picture of the trowel support thing that you did there?
because it's like one of them, like to get them perfectly organized all the
Yeah.
time.
It's hard.
It protected them and everything.
And
right?
it's good because you don't get stabbed.
Yeah.
A bucket stab, right?
Oh.
All right, so we're gonna close. We're gonna wrap it up soon, but I want to get some words of wisdom from all 4 of you guys about why you guys love the business so much and why somebody else should be doing the business. We're gonna start with Dominic.
Well, creating art, creating a different room. So when you go into a blank canvased area, making something beautiful, something that someone is going to appreciate and enjoy. That's my pleasure. Making people happy. It's always about the final product, right? And making it functional.
You ever installed tile where you had to actually lie that you actually thought it would look beautiful?
Yeah, when I don't like the tile,
I don't lie.
had to.
It's bad because
I had to.
I'm totally
I was like,
honest
sure,
with
it's
I'm
great.
totally honest with my clients. My clients say, "Do you like the tile?" No, I don't. I'm sorry, but if you like it, I'm going to install it. No problem.
I did purple granite,
God,
Wow.
why?
2 slabs. That's what he ordered.
Wow.
Listen, I'll be honest with clients. If they ask me, you're asking for my opinion. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to give you my honesty.
That's right. You should.
And I think that's the way it should be. Because if I'm going to lie to you about my taste on something, I feel like now there's no honesty.
Well, you could
between
always
the
just
two.
say it was installed beautifully.
That's it.
Yeah,
Always installed beautifully.
yeah, always.
It
But
was installed.
you know, if you give me
perfectly
some
and
pink tile
beautifully.
with some purple
I
lines,
had
in it, I'm
all
gonna
the
say,
right
"Oh,
material.
okay."
I had all the right tools. I had all the right little accessories.
I
that
hate
needed.
subway tile, but you know,
herringbone
this
subway tile.
no herringbone's fun, but just a plain brick
I've
wall.
never
you know.
heard anyone say herringbone.
Yeah.
Like, were you paid to
Once
say
you
that?
get into the rhythm, you know, you're grooving, you're
no.
smoothing. Yeah,
I'm going to call you
nice.
every time I get
Sure,
paired.
yeah. Price just went up now.
why is the laser going off?
Yeah.
Alicia, any last words?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a trade where there's so much diversity in it. Like, again, we were talking about there's so much you can do, like so many aspects of it. So it's nice, I think, for people getting into it where maybe they get bored of one thing very easy. And then with custom work, like, it's just there's so many different patterns and tiles and materials. You can go any route.
So there's
So
a
I think
challenge
it's-
almost every job.
Exactly.
Yeah, like you grow, your business grows, you can niche down, you grow as a person, like you're always learning. So it's a great, I think it's a beautiful industry. Yeah.
Steven?
Yeah, kind of to go off what she said. Tiling helped me grow as a human being in so many ways outside of the business, just to be, you know, an overall good, better human being.
Patience.
Patience is a huge thing that I do not have and am constantly working on, especially with training people. And, you know, you're in a different place every day. You're challenging yourself mentally, physically. I don't go to the gym. I try to work out, but I don't really need to. I work out 9 to 5 every day.
Well, the bags
My
are
hours are longer.
46 pounds now?
50.
50.
So
I thought
Depends on what you
that's the Ardex one. I
Ardex
think.
is 40,
Yeah.
44 pounds.
No,
Well,
McPay
yeah.
changed them too recently.
Oh, yeah?
Really?
45. No,
Yeah.
they're still 50
I
pounds.
thought they were 52.
They're still 50 pounds.
Okay, we're going with ultralight. We get the 25 pounders.
Yeah, those are great.
Ultralight mix. Okay. I was just a little surprised that they
No,
made them
Careflex
lighter.
Yeah.
Careflex Super is still
It's a beautiful thing.
pounds. LFT's
beautiful
50 pounds.
Everyone's teaching the next generation like they should understand what a 50-pound bag feels like.
Or a St. Mary's bag.
70-pound bag.
Yeah.
70
Wow.
or 80. 70 pound. 70 pound. Yeah.
That's how I tore my right meniscus.
There you
Oh,
go.
no.
There you go. And over to you, JP. Final words on how to rip apart every part. What discs and bones and
What haven't you broken?
cartilage.
Listen, the thing is,
It's
if
a
you don't-
beautiful trade.
It's a beautiful trade. If you don't love what you're doing, don't do it. One thing I should tell people is if you want to get into this trade, go to one of the shows.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Go to
That's a
Italy.
good idea.
Go to
Yeah.
Bologna.
Yeah.
Go to Atlanta. Go to Orlando. Just go
Say,
through that
go
show.
to Coverings, yeah.
And you look at what's coming out. See, our trade the beauty of it is the tools never stop. All these new things coming out. You're like a kid in a candy store when you're at those
Toys.
trades. If you really love what you're doing, tools just makes you like, where?
Yeah.
Like you get so excited for it, but just love what you do. If you don't like it, don't do it. If it's a job to you, every day you go in, if you're gonna act like you're miserable, it's not right for you, right? Like I get it. You have some days where you're not at the level that you want to be that day. Could be from like, but if you go and enjoy it and have a smile on your face while you're doing it, and that end result that we were talking about, that satisfaction you get, the client sends you pictures, you're like, JP, hey,
Excited.
just letting you know, right? I've had
Before it
clients,
gets all covered up and protected.
yeah. I've had clients, when they give you a gift at the end of the job, let's say a bottle of wine.
Those are nice.
Even though that small gesture, it's like, they
appreciate
they
the work that was
appreciated the
performed.
work that was
Best is the
performed.
hug at the end of the job.
Yeah. Or when your client makes you lamb for dinner. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
But yeah, just love what you do. That's it. Just love it.
So I totally agree with you guys. Honestly, it's a hard job. It's a hard trade, but it's very rewarding trade, right? There's a lot of satisfaction in the work that you guys perform, that you guys give to clients, and what you see the final product, right? And then
Correct.
the unfortunate thing, it gets covered up, and you got to wait a little while before you can take the final picture, because the trim guys have to come in and plumbing and all the finishing and all this other
But
stuff.
also too, I think it's for Dom, Steve, and me. We have different generations in our family that did the trade. It's when you see something they did before, and you're like, "Oh, Grandpa did that? No, did that?" Like, you know what I mean? Like, for example, the Toronto Metro Convention Center, the terrazzo that's there with the turtle doves, all those designs. My grandfather worked.
Oh,
on
really?
that.
Yeah.
And when I first saw that, I'm like,
Father-in-law
this.
was the foreman.
That was my first question when I was at TT Mac. I was like, why are we not teaching terrazzo?
well, they have it.
No, but
yeah.
They stopped because it's a dying trade.
But it could be
very heavy.
revived because of the art that's behind it.
Yes.
That's why I'm saying is that some kid can come along and go, why are we not bringing back terrazzo?
Because
Why
it's
are we
very
not-
expensive and it's very heavy.
Anything in construction is very expensive.
Oh, but
If
that
it's very
is
cheap,
very-
then it's Kijiji, and it just right? So there's a lot of potential. I think is what we got from this whole show, is that you could see a lot of potential growth and interest, and definitely you want that shared amongst anybody else that wants to come in here, right, into the industry. So I appreciate all your time for being on the show. So again, Dom, it's forcefully for you, floors for you.
Have
Sorry.
another coffee.
No. Floors for you, limited.
We will floor you.
And then we have Alisha, Diamond Edge Tiling. And then we have Steven from Frank's Flooring. And we got and I'm going to say this again, well, JP from New Look Tile. But I definitely, you guys are all newbies on the show. First timers,
Yes.
right? So we've had other people that have been on the show before. You're all more than welcome to return to do a solo show and just focus on you guys, and we can just talk about your business and how you guys, we can dive more deeper into there. So I want to thank you guys for being on the show.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
having us.
Yeah.
Very much.
And hopefully some kids or some people will reach out and contact you guys, and you guys will just tell them go away. And that's it. You won't say that. And I definitely want to give a huge shout out to Klassen. So for helping us out and supporting this conversation, I really appreciate that. And Peygran, obviously we all use it at this table here, including myself. 100%. I have used it. I'm not just a mouth on the mic. I've done this work before.
Yes.
And then you can buy it at Amazon. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can buy it at Amazon. You can buy it at Proso, obviously, where we all bumped into each other again because we all go there because they have the best steaks. But I can't sit in the rare line because it's too long. And then you can also get it at Tile.
You get too much smoke in your face.
I know. It's tilelevelingsystems.shop. And I think that's it, guys. It's great. So it's always a pleasure to see you. I have meeting you for the first time. And I know you were a little nervous, Alisha, to be on the show.
Yes.
But I'm glad that Vito convinced you to come on the show.
Yeah.
And you're doing amazing work for his projects, which is absolutely a blast, right? So
Yeah, it's great
you guys
working
all
with
do
him.
great work, and respect all around the board here. So
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Yes,
thank you
thank
for having us.
Thank you for
Appreciate
having
it.
me, Manny.
thank you. That's it. Angelina, we are out of here.